Hey, in the immortal words of Judy Brown, happiness is a choice. We're happy you're spending some time with us, Chip and Zan, and Off the Rails Thursday loaded show for you today. Just a few minutes, I think we'll be talking to Michael Griffin, member of the 2005 National Championship team, which will be honored during the first quarter of the Texas Vanderbilt game. Very exciting. One of Bowie High School's finest. And my co-host is one of Bowie High School's finest, the one and only Zay the Right Call Collier. Zay, what's up?
What's up, man? Bulldogs in the house representing. As always, proud Bowie Bulldog. And like I said yesterday, it's an honor to have, in my opinion, the greatest Bowie Bulldog athlete on our show today.
How about that?
So, excited about that. Ready to go on this Thursday. Feeling all right about Texas Vanderbilt. Feeling okay. Kind of doomsday. Kind of positive Zay. A little bit of both. But
okay.
Yeah,
any particular reason?
Just kind of, you never know what you're gonna get with this Texas football team, man. The uncertainty, which that's why we love college sports. You know, there's more parity than ever in college football right now. So you just never know what you're gonna get. Of all the stats that we crack down throughout the week, all the breakdown analysis, still don't know. So that's why I'm 50-50, you know.
Okay. Well, I guess things could be worse. You could be LSU, where their governor has decided he is now emperor of all things LSU football. This story is nuts. I mean, the governor held a press conference basically saying that he wants the athletic director at LSU, Scott Woodward, fired. And he's got a lot of power because he appoints the board of governors at LSU. He is not an LSU graduate. He graduated from what they call Louisiana now. But let's come back to that. Let's get to the man himself. Proud Bowie Bulldog and legendary Longhorn. Member of the 2005 National Championship team, the school record holder for
I can't even take Zay serious.
The one and only Michael Griffin.
I can't take Zay serious.
What you mean?
I'm just mad that you got your own jersey in the background. Is that your old Bowie jersey?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
So coach let you take one?
Yeah, of course. I mean, why wouldn't he? I could just go in the back, grab it, stitch it up, put my name on it, and then put it up on my wall. For somebody that hated on my wall previously, that you remember when you were trying to dog me about not having shit up there, here we go. So in a way, this is your fault.
You know? What'd I do?
Because you told me it was too bland. It was too plain.
It was bland, but okay. You know what? I'm glad that you 20 years ago, national championship. You went back 20 years ago for your 20-year-old jerseys. I got you. I see. That's what's up. Hey, you do know if you want. You do know you could play NCAA and like do your whole career, right? Like
I do, but I mean, someone could give me a signed autographed jersey that I can hang back there. I would love that.
I wasn't friends with you. I was friends with your brother. We used to just pick on you. You remember that? Like, come on, man.
Yeah, I was a bully.
I was a bully. You know, in this day and age, that you can't use that term. Like, I was not a bully. I was not a bully.
Because you're not blood or anything. My brother, blood, that makes sense. You, You know, like I didn't really know you like that. Marcus was my guy. Marcus always showed me love. I don't know, man.
Marcus don't know you, bruh. Stop that. Like, stop telling stories, man. It's okay though.
Man,
But
y'all love me.
I do see your pops at the course though. So I gotta tell him we gotta play. He likes to go a little later. I gotta get back to the kids. He's enjoying that retired life. He ain't gotta get nowhere. So he's enjoying that.
As he should.
Yes, he should.
Worked a long time, man. He deserves it.
He does. He does.
I love it. I love it. Well, Griff, I mean, I don't want to cut in on this, but big commemoration ceremony this weekend, 20 years since the 2005 national championship, and members of the team are going to be honored in the first quarter. Your thoughts on getting together with all the guys again 20 years after the fact, and how often do you all do stuff? I mean, is this like the first time that the team has been gathered back together?
You ask honestly, I'm got hit in the head a lot, so it's gonna be kind of like trying to remember people. That's gonna be one thing. But at the same time, I mean, me, Brian Arakpo, Derek Johnson, Jamal Charles, just name Quan Cotton, name a few guys, Vince, and we see each other all the time and stuff, and still communicate at least on a daily / weekly or monthly basis. So, but I mean, getting to see some of the other guys is going to be a great, guys I haven't seen in a long period of time. But it's when you say 20 years, yeah, it's been a long time, and how can I forget every year that it comes around? It fell on my birthday. So every year when you say 20 years, I'm trying to figure out, okay, I know I'm 40 right now. So I think come January 4th will be exactly, it was the 2005 season, but the game was played in 2006 on the 4th. So, and I turned 21 that day. So I'll be 41 this year. So definitely, it's coming up fast when you go to 20 years since the game, but it was 20 years since that season. So definitely a blessing to be able to accomplish something like that in my life. And it'd be great to just come out there and see a lot of guys and get to hang out and talk. And I know a lot of us have kids now, so we kind of transition from not only, us playing the game, but now a lot of our kids are playing the game also. So it'd be great just to get together and just get together.
Yeah. What do you remember most about that game?
My interception. What do you mean?
So I was hoping.
No, but I mean, outside of that, I mean, I know I didn't finish it. So I did get hurt in that game. So I do remember the injury that I had, me and Terrell Brown colliding. But when you think about it, I mean, it was just a lot of great plays. The fumble recovery from Huff. Even if you think about it, I remember Aaron Ross fumbled early in the game, but made great plays in that game. But the fourth down stop was big, but just a lot of big plays. And then at the end, Vince Young, that last play, him winning and things in that nature. So there's a lot of big plays in that game, a lot of great players that played in the National Football League from that game, and then a lot of great people. So it's a lot to remember from that game.
Talk about the year prior when y'all are at the Rose Bowl. Y'all just beat Michigan. VY says we'll be back, and then gearing up for the following season, which we obviously know what happened there. But just talk about the mindset from everybody. Like, okay, this is it. Like, we feel it. We're ready. Nobody's getting our way.
I mean, for me personally, I was happy because I finally get to play. I got to start as safety. For the first 2 years, I was playing nickel, and the year we beat Michigan, and that year, if you look at statistically wise, that might have been the year that I played the least amount on defense, just because at the time, rest in peace, Coach Robertson and Coach Tomey, they just didn't like using the nickel as much. So I really didn't get to play a lot that year. But that year going into my junior year is going to be the year that I actually got to start alongside Michael Huff, and you had Terrell Brown, Aaron Ross, Cedric Griffin. It was just the year after Derek Johnson just left, so we had a lot to prove to say, can we still be a top dominant defense that year? But at the same time, it was the time that Vince Young was under basically year 3 of him actually getting to play. And Jamal Charles just stepped on campus. He was a phenomenal football player. And then other guys like David Thomas, who was a great tight end and does not get the recognition that he deserves. But he was like a safety blanket when it came to that offense. But the offensive line was great with Lyle Sinline at center, Studdard, all those guys that were on that team. Jay Scott. It's just a lot of great players that was on that team. So, I mean, it was just an opportunity for us to, we had to get over that first hump, which was get over OU, which we finally was able to do that. And then from there, we had a slight scare, but we was able to continue to get through Texas A&M. We had to go there, play them at home. And then we got to the Big 12 championship. We won that fairly easily. And then we got to go back to LA and got to play USC. And so I think at the time, we won – I think we were like 18 something, like some crazy number. We won so many games straight. I think USC was at like 30 something games straight that they won. So somebody had to be beat that day, and it was just a great opportunity to get to play in that football game.
Are y'all doing? I know you're getting honored in the first quarter of the Vanderbilt game. We'll ask you about the current Longhorns here in a second, but are y'all doing anything like special? Y'all meeting for dinner somewhere?
There's supposed to be like a little I guess, what do you call it? A pre-tailgate. I mean, it's an early game, 11 o'clock game, so you got to get there kind of early. But if they're doing dinner, I don't know. Again, I got a senior in high school right now that's playing, so he has a game versus Aikens tomorrow. So I'll be watching him playing tomorrow night and then gearing up for that the next day. But and then because tomorrow's Halloween, so when you got young ones, you got to continue to be a parents first. But we'll see. I'm kind of anxious to see how things go or whatnot. But we'll see. It'll be my second game I went to this football season, so I mean, it should be a really good game versus Vanderbilt.
Yeah. How are the kids, by the way? B told me you got one on the soccer field that's been going crazy, and then obviously your son at Lake Travis. How's that been going?
Man, it's been going really good. My son's been doing really well. He's going through the whole recruiting process, so hopefully we narrow that thing down soon. My daughter, she's doing a phenomenal job. 2 kids on varsity in 1 year is kind of crazy. And then she was a freshman, he was a junior last year, and then she competed she threw shot put, broke the school record, missed state by 1 inch for Lake Travis, and then she went to the state championship in soccer for Lake Travis as a true freshman. So, and she started there, scored the game-winning goal to get them to get to state. So she's doing phenomenal. She's gonna be the one that I swear I'm gonna kill that one. That one there. No one warned. See, I didn't have no sisters, so since I had no sisters, I didn't know about the teenage girls. Like that's just teenage girls is just different. I know they say boys are hard, but teenage girls, that's just a whole different just animal, in my opinion.
That's your karma. That's what that is, because your ass was wilding back in the day. What you mean?
I was not wilding. This girl here is just sheesh. Everybody tells her how good she is, and I'm just like, I can't stand her. Y'all can take her.
Yeah. So the recruiting process with your son, how's that going? What schools he's looking at?
He's talking. University of Hawaii called the other day. We're supposed to go take a visit with Middle Tennessee State. He's still talking to Missouri State, some other schools here and there. I mean, he's pretty much handling everything. I just kind of take him whatever. At the end of the day, it's his decision on what he wants to do. But again, it's just so much different from when we played. I mean, it's just different the way they do this recruiting process. It's crazy. Like I feel like I don't know. That whole star ranking thing, whatever. I can't. It's weird to me to be like, what is the stars based off of? And it's like we base this off of what's their projection of making it to the NFL. And I'm like, y'all gave me a 4-star when I was coming out, and I went to Texas to play a position I never played. How did y'all predict that? But then there was other guys that I played with that were 5-stars and didn't even get on the field. So I just don't understand how I don't get it. I don't, but it's just so much different. I don't get it. It's different. And then at the same time, I feel like a lot of these guys are like, they're recruiting what they see. I don't even know if you can play football or not. I'm just looking at you as like, I mean, I look at it now, it's weird to say all that because you look at our secondary when we was there, my last game in Texas, I was 183 pounds. And I think Michael Huff was like 180 something. Cedric Griffin was 180. Terrell Nunn was like 170 something. And you put us on the field, couldn't nobody do nothing against us. Like our linebackers, Drew Kelson moved the linebacker. I think he was like 205, 210. Aaron Harris, national championship. I think he was like 220. I mean, it was just so different than what it is today. And it's crazy to see like we was able to win with like really good football players. May not pass the measurable because I remember when I went to the combine, I was like, I am so undersized. Like, this is what y'all think safeties are supposed to look like. But then to be able to go to the National Football League and play 10 years is just so much different. Be like, if you can play the game of football, you can play the game of football. And I think it's been proven over and over, despite size. Whether you look at Justin Hughes, who played for a long time from TCU as a defensive end, undersized defensive end. You look at a former teammate, Cortland Finnegan, who was like 5'10", 172, got to play 11, 12 years. The Honey Badger from LSU, 5'9" guy. Even if you look at Buda Baker right now, I mean, these are phenomenal players that won't pass the eyeball test, but are phenomenal players. And then you got guys that look like creative players and they just can't play the game. It's just, for some reason, just doesn't. I mean, the last 6'5", 6'6" receiver that was really phenomenal was like Calvin Johnson. We ain't seen it since. So it's just crazy to me just to see like, and then you got a guy like Xavier Worthy who people were questioning, oh, he's too little. So it's just crazy to see that type of like who can play and who can't play.
Yeah, it was funny. Dan Neal, we had him on recently, and he said, I need football players. He's like, Dan 6'2", played at 285. He's like, on the offensive line, I know they're recruiting these huge guys, but I need guys who want to get nasty and
I
want to
mean,
be.
the best defensive tackle for the last however many years just decided to walk away on his own is Aaron Donald, and he was phenomenal, undersized guy, strong but phenomenal. And you look at, you know, it's just amazing. It's like, yeah, you just need football players, and I think that's the craziest thing is um, just the recruiting way of recruiting and looking at guys and how they play and realizing like, okay, they get and then at the same time, I think it comes back to developing players. I mean, you can get a 6'2", 6'3" corner. That's cool, but can you develop them? Can you teach them the right technique? Can you coach them up to be a really good football player? And I think that's hard to. I think that's another piece of it is just as you're recruiting, at the same time, do you have the guys on staff that can develop these guys to be that can use their tangibles and get them through it? So I think that's just the way this recruiting thing is just so different. I just remember like back in the day, we had a whole room full of a bunch of receivers and running backs and whatever. And Coach Akina made us all a heck of a secondary, and it was just impressive to see how he was able to do that. And then you look at a guy like Chris Obanai, who came in as a wide receiver that ended up playing receiver and then moved to running back and ended up having a good career and just seeing those type of things that transformed over the course of time. Tony Hills was another guy that came in a tight end, ended up being a tackle. You got to see a lot of that over, back in the day where you just recruited football players and like, we'll figure it out. Sergio Kendall, Lamar Houston, uh, Henry Melton. I mean, these guys were like, they were their whole football team. And then when they got to University of Texas, they managed to find ways to get them on the field and had them to have great success. So I think I think, in my opinion, that kind of gets away from what it used to be on recruiting football players and having guys that love the game, that are nasty, that's feisty, and just being great. And Michael Tapp, I think he's a great example of a guy that's a great football player. He ain't gonna pass the eyeball test, but he's a heck of a football player. That's the reason why he's up for the Thorpe Award right now. He did the great things he's done.
What are you expecting for the rest of the season with this Texas football team, Mike? Obviously, losing to Florida was tough loss, but they've won the last 3. It seemed like after that OU game, they were going to pick up some steam and momentum, but then Kentucky, dogfight, overtime, Mississippi State, dogfight, overtime. You lose Arch Manning, who's in concussion protocol right now. What do you think about this team against Vanderbilt and the rest of the season?
You know, it's hard to tell because I say this all the time, and I've been saying this for as long as I can remember, you know, and we've been through this, you know, people are questioning, you know, I've seen articles, I've seen videos where Arch is saying that, you know, nothing's getting to him and he doesn't hear the outside noise, but, you know, social media and things is just I don't care what nobody says. Like, you hear the noise, and again, he's a human being. We're all humans. Things bother you know. Just however you know the way that you respond to him, it makes you who you are as a person. I think he's unfortunately, I think he's just one of those guys that you were going to get criticism regardless of whatever you do in life, just because of you know who your uncles are and what they accomplished, who your grandfather is, and everything else. Um, do I still, in my opinion, sometimes I feel as I'm watching him, he's playing not to make a mistake. And I say that because I feel like he's maybe hearing the outside noise, so he's playing not to make a mistake. But at the end of the day, like Colin Simmons said, the team is a team. You know, we got to have each other's back. I mean, you go back to, you know, Vince Young and his freshman year in the defense and how it went hand in hand. And you go back to, you know, you get to the national championship game. And literally, I remember Vince telling us, give me one more stop, give me one more chance. And, you know, you give him another chance, and next thing you know, he makes magic happen. So it all goes hand in hand. You go back to last year, um, just in general, even with Texas, if you go back to the Ohio State team, that defense made some key plays right there at the end to allow that team to win. The offense wasn't playing the best football, but that defense for Ohio State made a lot of great plays and allowed them to win that ball game versus Texas. So it all goes hand in hand. You know, all 3 phases of the game is going to need each other. And I think from this point on out, you know, moving forward, especially playing in the SEC, you saw last week, South Carolina versus Alabama. You know, literally it came down to players making big plays at the end. It goes hand in hand. You even go back to the Georgia game. I think they came very close in the game. But that's the game of football. And I think Texas is starting to realize, and there's a lot of young guys starting to realize how it's going to be playing in the SEC. It's really tough football each and every week. Somebody has to step up. And I think this week it's going to be the same thing. It's going to be a dogfight. That's just going to the University of Texas. That's what you're going to get is a dogfight. You're going to get everybody's best shot. But I would say this: Mississippi State won't play the same way that they played last week. I mean, you're going to get everybody's best shot. And I know people say we say that from Texas, but even when I was there, and I know it was 20 years ago when they talk about 20 reunion, we just get everybody's best shot, whether it was Baylor, whether it was Kansas, Kansas State. I mean, we got everybody's best shot. And for some reason, it's almost like the records does not matter. When Texas step on the field, you get everybody's best shot. And so I think they're gonna have a dogfight, but at the same time, every man has to be ready to make a play when the opportunity comes their way, and it's only gonna make them better as a team as the season continues to progress. But it's wide open, and I say that because there's still a lot of football here. You still got Georgia, you still got A&M, you still got Vanderbilt this week. It's still wide open. Anything can happen. And you saw like with Penn State, you get one injury and things can go downhill very quickly. So I think the backup has done a phenomenal job. Every opportunity he had to come in the game. If he has to play this week, I think he's prepared. He's ready. He's been all around. I think he plays with a lot of confidence, but I think he's mentally prepared to be ready to play. But I'm excited to see how they play. It's an early game. Vanderbilt just had a very big win for themselves, and I'm excited to see when they come into Texas. And Texas is, for some reason, they know how to go 5 and 6 quarters. So Vanderbilt better be ready because I think Texas is. They're just. It may not look pretty, but the W's is coming, and that's all that matters is the W's. Don't matter how you get them, as long as you got it. So people say the same thing about our national title game.
Well, Mike, I want to ask you about that. The 2005 national championship team, y'all are going to be honored in the first quarter on Saturday. Why was that team national champs?
Because, I guess I would say, I go back to that season. Just that team alone. I could tell you one big moment. I remember we played Oklahoma State one time. I think we were down like 28-7 or something, 35. It was something. We were down bad. And I just remember like Mac Brown walked in through the locker room. And I remember, excuse my language, and I ain't gonna say who said it. You know what? Fuck it. He said it. Vince said, we know what the fuck we got to do. We don't want to hear that shit. Mac turned around and went out the locker room. And next thing you know, we beat the dog shit out of Oklahoma State. But it was like, that was just it. Like, it was a selfless team. Nobody cared about who got. People asked, I just had this conversation with one of my teammates the other day, and he said, did it bother you that Michael Huff got the Thorpe Award, and then the following year, Ross got the Thorpe Award? And I said, hell no. And he said, but why not? I said, because shit, if they coming to watch Huff, they gonna get to see me. And if they coming to watch Ross, they gonna get to see me. So why the fuck do I care? At the end of the day, we all gonna eat, So Vince doing what he was doing, that shit great. Hey, listen, there's 6 scouts up there. All right, I got a ball today. Like, that was just my mindset of that game, of just playing. It wasn't and I say this, if you worry about somebody else's blessing, you're gonna miss your own blessing. So, in my opinion, I think the reason why we were so great because we didn't. Dude, we had 3 fucking running backs. Think about it. Like, Jamal Charles comes in a rookie. He's getting the ball. It's supposed to be Selwyn Young's time because Cedric Benson just left. He's been waiting for his opportunity. But then we like, shit, what position does Ramon Taylor play? Fuck, I don't know. Just find a way to give him the goddamn ball. Didn't matter. Like, that was how he was playing. And then if you go back and really watch it, it was like, who ain't got a touchdown yet? All right, bet. Let's design a play to get him the ball. Like, that's what it was. It never really mattered. Like, who was what was, it never mattered. Like, it was just fun. So I say what the boys is doing right now, what Texas is doing right now, they have each other's back. I think Sark has developed a culture where everybody's selfless. You saw that last year with Jade Barron, all the guys that went on to play in the National Football League. And everybody was having fun. And I think that's what you see when you see this football team is win, lose, or draw, they're still sticking together. You don't see any off the field issues. That's something I applaud Sarkisian. Like it was in the past where you used to see all the off the field things going on. I know the NIL, you got guys making money and stuff, but we all be out. We don't see none of the craziness and stuff going on. Everybody's doing everything a smart way. Livingston stepped up. He's playing a phenomenal job, doing a great job right now. But I think that's the biggest thing is just seeing a team that's sticking together, has each other's back. And I think that's the same thing that we had back in the day. It was just it was all about the team and the team only. And Vince goes down as, in my opinion, if not the best college football player ever, in my opinion. But you would never know because he always made sure all his guys was taken care of whenever he was around everybody. So, and he still does that today. So you can never badmouth anybody on that team because everybody was a close-knit team that all we cared about was winning. Not to mention that we used to lose football games. We had that Sunday dinner. And if we lost, we used to get like the old school like beef stew that was like in a can. It was terrible. But when we won, we had surf and turf, baby. Steak, lobster, shrimp. We made sure to win. So Mac Brown used to tell us, y'all lose, you know what you're getting. We'd be starving because nobody wants to eat that nasty cafeteria food. But when we won, it was awesome.
Yeah. Hey, Mike, last one for me. What was the recruiting process like for you and Marcus?
You know what I tell people all the time? I was, you know this. I was committed to A&M because I felt like, and I tell my son that too. You got to find the place that you feel comfortable with and the guys that you really feel that you make a connection with. And Sean Slocum, who was the DB coach at the time with A&M, we just had a connection. I mean, this dude used to call me damn near every other day or whatever. And I remember when they fired R.C. Slocum, I was like, well, shit, I ain't going to A&M no more. And then got real close with Greg Davis or whatever. And, it was just different though. Because again, I was playing a position that I was getting recruited to do something else in college. I was playing running back at Bowie, and people are like, does he play defense? It's like, no, he don't. My brother was a starting quarterback and a starting safety. So I think what solidified everything was Mac Brown told my brother that, hey, I'll give you a preferred walk-on, and you're a hell of a player. We just don't have enough scholarships for you, but we're going to align everything. So he had the academic scholarships all aligned, made sure he was allowed to stay on campus with me, and then made sure he was treated like a scholarship player. Mac Brown honored everything he said he was going to do. And then he told Marcus that you have the same. He even had to get on my brother one time. He was like, listen, you are a preferred walk-on. You're not a walk-on. So act like it. Stop trying to, like ready to go. And so Marcus did it. You go back to the national championship game. When I went down, Marcus was the next man up. He was the starting dime. So my junior year, his redshirt sophomore year, coach gave him opportunity. And then my senior year, his junior year, he was granted a scholarship, got put on full scholarship, which Mac Brown, told you work your tail off, you get it. He got it. And from there, it was, rest was history. So I just said the process is so different because they offering kids in 8th grade. I'm like, what the hell? I know y'all seen that. Y'all seen these 8th graders getting offered scholarships?
Yep.
8th grade get offered a scholarship, but then from my understanding, what they say is it's not committable. Back in the day, they offer you a scholarship, you can commit, but now they offer you a scholarship just because they like you. But
it's nuts.
We dating, but we dating a whole bunch of women. I mean, we just dating. I'm dating all these people. Just gotta see who works out. So it's so much different now.
Well, Michael, man, it's great. We need to do this more often, but hey, enjoy Saturday. Congratulations. 20 years, the Live the Dream DVD lives on. Appreciate the time, man, and enjoy yourself.
Thank you. Y'all take care. Hey, Zay, take that jersey down, bro.
Nah, man, it's staying up. Give me a new one.
Zay, you can't even fit that jersey right now.
That's okay, though. Give me one 27 signed with the Rose Bowl logo and everything. I'll put it up there.
All right, I'm gonna make one for you. I'm gonna put your name. I'm gonna put your name on it too.
I'll take that.
All right.
Thanks, Griff. There he is, Michael Griffin, 2005 national champion. One of the best to come through the 40 acres. Let's get to our man Lance Taylor for some college football talk. Lance'sLock.com for the picks. LT, how you doing?
I'm good, man. That's tough to follow up old Mike Griffin, man. That was quite the player, going back to 2005. I still think one of the best teams of all time, that Trojan team that lost in the Rose Bowl. And boy, he had big plays in that game. Had a pick. I think it was in the end zone. Yeah, I still don't know how. As good as Texas was, that was a great Texas team. Everything broke the right way that night. So we won't get into that. Congratulations. But he's a tough one to follow up. And he had a great pro career too. Tennessee Titan, back when the Titans were worth the shit. But anyway, yeah, that's a legend.
Yeah. That they're getting honored on Saturday, 20 years. So we popped him on to reminisce, talk about the good old days, talk about his beef with Zay Collier. They're both Bowie Bulldogs. Lance, we got to start with this LSU, this craziness. I mean, the governor's holding press conferences, says he wants the athletic. director fired. Apparently put a bunch of pressure on to make sure that Brian Kelly got fired. Like, this changes the dynamic of that job, doesn't it?
Yeah, probably. I mean, like, why would you want to fool with something when you've got, like, okay, my AD, and look, Scott Woodward's obviously made some bad decisions and some really, really one-sided contracts that didn't favor his universities. But I mean, it would cause hesitation for me if I'm like, there are so many more important, like, okay, so first let me start. We could go so many different directions with this. I used to go to New Orleans 3 or 4 times a year. We used to have a direct flight Southwest. It was $100. It was a 55-minute flight. You could barely get a drink before you were, ascending and the descending and all that kind of stuff. And used to go over there all the time and absolutely loved it. And I've got friends that won't even go to New Orleans because it's gotten so freaking rough. I mean, it's just a dangerous city. And when you start to look at, 3 of the top 10, 3 of the top 9 most dangerous cities in America reside in Louisiana, one of the worst infrastructures in all of America. I mean, that's just fact. New Orleans is as much as it used to be visited, is not even a top 15 tourist visitation city right now in America, which is insane. They've got so many other issues to deal with in Louisiana that I just don't understand how he's getting involved in the hiring of the next football coach. I appreciate the passion. I said this on the show earlier today. My passion for the Rams is a little crazy. So I get that, but I just don't understand how you bring this into what's going on right now. And if I am a coach, let's use Lane Kiffin. I'm in a situation right now where I don't have a ton of pressure. I'll make as much money. Lane Kiffin's going to be the highest paid coach at the end of the year, in my opinion, wherever he goes, whether he stays in Oxford, goes to Gainesville, goes to Baton Rouge. But, this is one of those that a significant other, an agent, if it's not Jimmy Sexton, could point out, you might have it in a better now than going to a place where in 3 years, the guy won double-digit games twice, had a Heisman Trophy winner, played for a SEC championship, and now not only is he fired, but he's also got, the second most powerful guy in the state of Louisiana, talking about this job and talking about we're not going to accept. What did he say? We're not going to. I'm trying to remember. I've seen the press conference twice. We're not going to, not mediocrity, but he talked about, Trump and I don't know. But he just said basically Chip Kelly or Brian Kelly's tenure was a complete loser there. And I don't know. It's weird. Very weird.
Yeah. It's like when Huey Long was the governor of Louisiana, and he was all intertwined with the football program. Apparently was at one point even calling plays. I can't believe we're back to that in this day and age, especially at a school like LSU with a football program like that.
And a great job. Like, I mean, this is one of the few, like, if I'm doing my pros and my cons, one of the cons is governor is going to get involved. Don't really like that. There's so many pros to that job. Again, I don't think, and I'm a guy that, I probably pull the trigger a little too fast when it comes to coaches and saying, hey, this guy's had enough time. But I was shocked. I've never been a James Franklin fan, but shocked he was fired. I didn't think he deserved to be fired. I don't like Dabo Swinney, but I think he has got a lifetime pass, in my opinion, for what he's done for Clemson football. And Brian Kelly, it didn't work out like I thought it would, but I still, unless you 1000% know that this guy is going to do a better job and this is my guy and he's going to take this job, I don't understand why you would get rid of Brian Kelly. And I know he's not a likable guy, but he still is. He's got an incredible track record.
Yeah. So where do you go from here if you're LSU? I mean, you're Lane Kiffin, like you said, Lance. He's going to get pizzed, whether it's an Ole Miss or if he takes the Florida or LSU job. But other than Lane, who can you see fits that culture of Louisiana State?
Well, if LSU, and now I don't know, where LSU, the administration, politically where everything is, but if you can stomach going to a little brother and getting their guy, John Summerall's a stud. He really is. And, they're 6-1 and they've got a big game tonight against UTSA, and they've still got an opportunity to get to a college football playoff. And, he was on the show last week, and we are a little biased because He's come on the show probably 5, 8 times, and he's just a good dude. But he says all the right things. And, he said last week he doesn't think this team's very good. He's like, we really got 5 returning starters. One's hurt right now. They got Jake Retzlaff from BYU last minute. Their 2 best players, and Darian Mensah went to Duke. Mekhi Hughes goes to Oregon. So they lose a lot in the portal. But you look at his track record from what he did at Troy to what he's doing right now at Tulane. The guy can coach. And, he's a former Kentucky linebacker. He's coached in the SEC. He's played in the SEC. He's recruiting Louisiana right now. To me, it would be a no-brainer. That's exactly where I would go. I think I would even go there before Lane Kiffin. But we'll see what they do. I heard Dan Lanning's name was mentioned, and then I heard Josh Pate talking about it this morning, that's kind of an impossibility with how the contract's structured. And he's got some kind of side deal with Phil Knight, which I guess isn't surprising because it's in Eugene. But I think Lanning was getting a little bit of buzz until people started to really unpeel that contract. But I think Lane is going to be the favorite. Again, I don't know if Louisiana can wrap their head around going for Tulane's head coach, but if they could, that's the direction I would go.
Yeah, where do you feel like Lane's going to be next year?
I thought for sure Florida a week ago. And I think this is a complication for Florida. I was hearing and felt really good that he was going to take that job. But I think now that LSU's in the mix, it might open different directions and he might evaluate and weigh things differently now. And, I'm back to maybe him staying at Oxford more than going to Florida. But if I was Lane, I probably would take the LSU job. Again, he's going to be the highest paid coach in college football. I'm going to give a lean to LSU. I kind of think Florida might be out of it now. So last week I would have said Florida, Ole Miss. Now I think I would go slight LSU, Ole Miss, then Florida.
Yeah, and the governor says he's not going to do a 10-year, $100 million deal.
Yeah. No, thank you very much. If I'm an LSU fan, shut up.
Right.
Like, if you want to you have got to give coaches right now leverage. I mean, it's amazing. And we got into this on the show today, like how one-sided these deals are, how Lane Kiffin can go to Florida or LSU and the school might get a little piece, but not even compared to if they've got to fire the guy, like what they're on the hook for. But to come out and say that we're not going to do this. Okay, well, I'm not going to take your job. I mean, like I'm going to be a multimillionaire with an opportunity to win a lot of different places.
Yeah. Lance, last week, Alabama, it was a close one. That stadium going to Columbia, it's always difficult no matter what team is playing. But talk about that game a little bit and how the Crimson Tide snuck out with a win.
Zay, down 8 points with 2.5, 3 minutes to go in that game. I thought Alabama was going to lose. I was really, really shocked. And I think it shows you the gauntlet of the SEC, and Texas fans have seen the last couple of weeks that you've gone to some of the dregs of the SEC in Starkville and Lexington and being able to survive those games in overtime. And Alabama had just gone through that gauntlet. We talked about no SEC team had ever gone beating 4 consecutive ranked teams without a bye. Alabama had just completed that. And then they go to Columbia, a team they really struggled with last year. And the 2 things reared up that could have beaten Alabama, and that's South Carolina's defense playing at a high level and then Lenore Sellers playing at a high level. Alabama wasn't crisp. They can't run the football right now, and this is a problem. And I think if you're looking for an Achilles heel right now with this Alabama team, and I think some people would make an argument, second best team in college football, they can't consistently run it. 128 yards a game on the ground. They're 104th in the FBS in that category. And I've never seen a team in the SEC, even if you go back to like 2020 with Alabama completely dominating. You had Najee Harris there that I still think had, 1,300 yards. You go back to 2019 LSU with those dominant receivers and Joe Burrow. You had Clyde Edwards-Helaire. So you've still got some balance. Alabama doesn't have that right now. But they found a way to win that game. They scored 2 touchdowns in the final 2.5 minutes. And they survive and advance. And now they've got to buy a much-needed buy, and then they'll be taking on an LSU team that will, have an interim coach. And I've seen Alabama's already a 12.5-point favorite moving forward. You get Alabama, or you get LSU at home, you get Oklahoma at home, you've got Eastern Illinois, and then you go to Auburn. I mean, worst case, if something terrible was to happen, I think Alabama's 10-2 and they still get in. So it was a big win. Ty didn't play his best game. They couldn't run the football. It was a weird game, but they end up winning.
Well, Texas, here comes Vanderbilt. So Texas plays 4 straight games away from home, unprecedented. I don't think it's ever happened in major college football. And then they get, the Cam Scattaboo of quarterbacks, Diego Pavia, and Vanderbilt coming into town. How do you see this one?
So Texas, I mean, I just don't think it's a great team. I think it's a great defense. The offense finally showed up in the fourth quarter. I wonder how much of that really was, Arch finally living up to Arch potential, or it was desperation and, hey, in this situation where we're down, at that point, 38-21, we've got to find a way to score some points. With that said, I mean, I've got to give Texas credit. Anywhere on the SEC really is a difficult place to win, but, Kentucky and Mississippi State are a combined 6-9, and you have overtime to beat both of those. Go back last year. I thought Quinn Ewers played a hell of a game against Vanderbilt in Nashville, where they were lucky to survive that 27-24. I think Vanderbilt's the better overall team. I think Diego Pavia is starting to wear a lot of people out with the act. He is a very good quarterback, but they're even finding ways to win without him playing exceptional football. They did it again last weekend. He didn't play great, but they win. They do have a top 15 scoring offense, top 25 scoring defense. If this wasn't Vanderbilt, if this was Tennessee or Oklahoma or somebody that had a brand that didn't have, the history of Vanderbilt football, I think they would be favored on the road 3.5, 4.5 over Texas. I think you're getting value with Vanderbilt, but it's a sleepy 11 o'clock game. And I did want to ask you guys this, because I had someone on our show today say, I think we're going to see empty seats in Austin. And I was like, well, why would you see empty seats in Austin? Well, Texas isn't playing great right now, and they're playing Vanderbilt. Well, that doesn't make any sense to me. Vanderbilt's top 10. Texas is in a situation now where they have no room for error at all, no margin of error. They lose another game, they're out. I mean, I would assume that would be a pretty tough ticket. Am I completely wrong there?
I mean, it's sold out. I think every seat will be filled.
Okay. I thought so too.
We're not there yet. We're not at the empty.
Yeah.
seats.
Well, is it gonna be?
The students
will
might be
say this.
a little late because of Halloween, but 11 a.m. kickoff, Halloween the night before, they gonna party a little bit. But yeah, it's gonna be filled.
So at Lance's lock last week, I had Texas minus 6.5. And to be able to come back, take that game to overtime, and Caldwell to make the throw that gets reviewed, and then terrible possession by Blake Shapen and Mississippi State in overtime. But I absolutely loved it. I mean, that was incredible. Are we leaning Caldwell starts?
I keep hearing that Arch is going to play. So we'll see. I mean, he's not out of the protocol yet, but I've got a couple sources who think Arch is going to play. Now, this thing is day to day.
Well, Caldwell's an Alabama kid. I know you guys probably talked about this, but started at Jacksonville State, Gardner-Webb. He's been all over the place. And that was a nice moment for that kid to come in and throw one pass and to get a win on the road in the SEC. Obviously, Texas' best shot at winning this game would be with Arch, but it's a fascinating game to me because I really believe if Vanderbilt gets in, I think they're in. I think if they win this game, I think they're in. Even if they were to lose the season finale against Tennessee, I've got people telling me a 10-2 Vanderbilt is not guaranteed just because, this thing is a television event and Vanderbilt's not going to bring the numbers. I actually think I just don't know how you could deny a Vanderbilt at 10-2 because at that point they're going to have 4 ranked wins at least, maybe 5.
So what do you think? You think Vandy wins this one?
I lean Vanderbilt, yeah. I don't feel great about it because, again, Pavia, I didn't think he really looked good last week. And, I thought Missouri was the better team. And then you see Bo Prabula goes down on the goal line and Zollers has to come in, and they still were 6 inches away from potentially tying or winning that game. I just lean Vanderbilt. I don't know why. I just don't think Texas is very good. I just don't.
Yeah.
Speaking of elimination games, Lance, you got Oklahoma, Knoxville playing Tennessee. How you think that game's going to go?
So that's an interesting game. It was a little more interesting last year when you had Heupel going back to play in Norman, Oklahoma. Oklahoma and John Mateer just haven't looked the same since the injury. You can say what you want, but his first 4 games compared to his last 3 games have been kind of night and day. I know the competition is amped up a little bit. I can't even believe they were in that Ole Miss game. It looked like Ole Miss was such the better team, and then Oklahoma had every opportunity. Much like Texas, very good defense, just don't know about the offense. And, they're 3-7 their last 10 SEC games. But at the same time, I don't know how good this Tennessee team is. They're 0-2 against ranked opponents. So I could see this game go either way. It's obviously an elimination game. Whoever absorbs that 3rd loss is going to be done. I just don't trust Oklahoma's offense. I don't trust Tennessee's defense. We'll see what gives here. And I still think Brent Venables could be on a hot seat. I know that sounds crazy, but when you're getting rid of guys like James Franklin and Brian Kelly, who are much more proven as head coaches, if this thing completely falls apart, which Oklahoma still got really difficult games, but this is a very winnable game. I don't have a feel for it yet, Zay. I hate to ride the fence, but again, terrible Oklahoma offense right now, terrible Tennessee defense.
Well, let's get to the game that everybody's talking about. I mean, the game of the week, the Miami Hurricanes at the SMU Mustangs.
Hey, how can you play all of September and October without going on the road? Miami has not left the state of Florida this entire season. So this will be the first time, and now they go to what should be a sleepy Dallas atmosphere where the expectation was so much more last year.
Rocking 32,000 seat Ford Stadium.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Miami's defense is really good. Carson Beck hasn't played nearly the way. Now, he played pretty well in the second half. That's another one that we got away with this past week. It was 7-7 at halftime, and Miami does everything they can on every possession to score last week, closing that thing out. SMU, though, terrible against the spread. 10-8 their last 10 out. They can't consistently run the football. I would love to see SMU pull off this upset, but Miami is a significant favorite. I think the one thing that does help is they are going on the road for the first time, and it will be kind of a sleepy atmosphere. I think SMU can keep it close, but Kevin Jennings just hasn't been good his last couple of games.
Yeah, SMU plus 11.5. That's appealing, isn't it?
Yeah. Hey, so another prediction. Our show is all over the place today. Sarkisian will not be back. The Texas job will open up. He's going to the NFL. Like, why would he go to the NFL? Like, the Texas job to me is better than 25 to 30 NFL jobs. Like, I would really have to sit down and think about, what are better jobs in the NFL. Is there a chance Sark actually shuts it down? Because he didn't say I wasn't going. He just said, I don't know why somebody made this thing up.
It doesn't make sense, because if there's a school that should be able to thrive in the age of NIL and the transfer portal, it's Texas, where you get to pick your own players.
Right.
I mean, it doesn't make sense. So if he were to leave for the NFL, I'd want to hear why on earth that would be the case, because you surrender the control.
Yeah, unless he just – and see, if they wouldn't have – even if they would have made the college football playoff last year and lost to Arizona State, then maybe I'd be like, maybe he just feels like he's not going to be able to get it done at this level. I find it hard to believe that he's had his 2 best seasons in back-to-back years, last year in the Big 12 and first year in the SEC, that he would tap out here. I just remember everybody saying Lincoln Riley scared to death of the SEC. That's why he's leaving Oklahoma and going to USC. I don't see Sark going to the NFL. You talk about lack of stability. That's the NFL. I mean, college has gotten to that point, but the NFL, you have no stability.
Right. He got fired as an offensive coordinator in Atlanta, and his offense was better the second year than it was the first year.
Right. Yeah.
It makes no sense. What other games you got? What's going on at lanceslock.com?
So we are scorching the NFL right now. We are 29-11 through 8 weeks of the NFL. We have yet to have, knock on wood, a losing weekend in the NFL. Another perfect day this past Sunday. So we're hitting right at 72.5% in the NFL, which it won't get any better than that. Jump on board, win with us. We're starting to heat up in the NBA too. We've won back-to-back nights after starting out ice cold. We're 1-0 in college football so far this week. We had a winning week last week in college football. So we're above 500 there, killing the NFL. Free play every single day. We've got 3 plays up. We've got one in the NFL tonight. We've got one in college football. And we've got one in the NBA. Everything's available right now. You can buy daily package, weekly package, monthly package, whatever you want. It's available. 12 years we've been doing it. Tried and true. LancesLock.com. Your
Dodgers going to win the World Series?
I don't know. I'm pissed off about it like this. First of all, I can't call myself a true fan anymore because I do a trivia every Wednesday night, and I normally would tap out, and I ended up doing it last night, even in the middle of Game 5. I needed them to get Game 5, and I was able to watch it over my shoulder, and I watched the final 2 innings when I got home and all that kind of stuff, and it was over by then. But even if they win tomorrow night in Game 6, then we've got to play a Game 7 on a Saturday night college football. I got to find the TV for it. I absolutely hate that. With that said, this Dodger offense has gone to the shitter. Savage was incredible last night. The Dodgers at any moment can pop and score 22 or 20 runs in 2 games. So it's not going to surprise me. I think it's going to go 7, but I got a sneaky feeling the Blue Jays are going to win it in 7.
Wow. Man. Well, LT, you're the best. Appreciate it. Everybody get over to lanceslock.com.
Hey, you guys in Austin, y'all have got the best game of the day. I wish it was a night game. I hate 11 o'clock games, but that is the best matchup. I think the most intriguing matchup all of college football this weekend.
Is there an NFL game you love?
As far as on paper, not yet. Not yet. Yeah. I'm working on it, though. Working on this. Yeah.
Yeah. Go get over to lanceslock.com.
Yep. Thank
Appreciate
you, guys.
it.
Always fun.
Let's do it again next week.
Love to.
Appreciate you, Lance.
See you, boys.
There he is, Lance Taylor, nextroundlive.com. Let me get a quick mention for the Sleep Cycle Center. For my guys who are snoring, hey, you got the best treatment center for sleep apnea right here in Austin, the Sleep Cycle Center. Locations in Lakeway and at the Arboretum. Sleep apnea is a lack of oxygen while you're sleeping. It's of course, annoying to the person sleeping next to you, but it's also the sign of a potentially serious health risk. Sleep apnea, killed Jerry Garcia of the Grateful Dead, Reggie White, and it killed the father of the founder of the Sleep Cycle Center, Dr. Chad Denman, and that's why he's committed his life to making sure people get treated for sleep apnea. And we've got a great partnership with Texas Sports Unfiltered. Just go to sleepcyclecenters.com. Tell them Texas Sports Unfiltered sent you, and they're going to take $100 off your sleep study. They got the best technology for that sleep study to detect your level of sleep apnea and the best treatment options, including oral appliances like I have, a mouth guard that holds my lower jaw open while I'm sleeping so that I get that deep sleep. And that's what you need and deserve. And you just do it. Take care of yourself. Don't let something sneak up on you that you have total control over. SleepCyclecenters.com. Tell them Texas Sports Unfiltered sent you. All right, let's go to the green room. I think he's there. I see him. Let's see. Drew, you there? Executive Director of the Senior Bowl.
I have no idea why the camera's not working. It worked this morning.
Yeah, we want to see that chiseled mug. We got, is there like maybe at the bottom of your little.
I just pulled the camera up again, Well,
that
seriously, it was just working like not flipping 5 minutes ago. Swear to God,
that little camera box 2 in from the one next to the microphone.
Yeah.
You click on that.
Yeah, I'm sure he is.
Yeah, damn sure am.
He does like 1,000 of these. Like,
Yeah.
he
I
knows
saw you on NFL Network yesterday. You look good.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out why it won't. I mean, this is weird, you know? I
Huh.
mean, I'm trying, dude. I mean, really am.
Well, let's just
Don't know what to tell you on this one.
let's
Yeah.
just we'll ask you questions while you're figuring out the
While I'm trying to screw with it. Yeah, I got you.
yeah.
You may just come out real quick. Maybe that'll help. I mean, you know,
Yeah.
just
Yeah,
a shot.
Let's reload.
Yeah.
All right. We'll get it figured out. Drew Fabianich, executive director of the Panini Senior Bowl. Follow him on social media at DFabeSB. DFabeSB. And he's putting out videos talking about the different players that the Senior Bowl's got an eye on. He's all over it. And of course, that game is televised by the NFL Network. But Zay, it's there's gonna be a bunch of pro scouts at the Texas Vanderbilt game this weekend. And you heard Lance, he's a connoisseur of college football. Texas Vanderbilt, best game of the week, according to our man LT. I would agree. I mean, outside of Miami and SMU.
Yeah, it's weird that game day is not there. I know the SEC network will be there, but I guess Vanderbilt having game day in Nashville last week, they didn't want to go back to back, but
Hey,
I
there
don't
he
know what
is.
happened. I have no idea what the hell happened.
There he is. Drew Fabianich,
Fellas.
executive director of the Panini Senior Bowl. Follow him on social media at DFabe, FABESB. Drew,
I know you got all kind of stuff going on today because I went off on the last show. Went off.
well, on the LSU situation?
No, because here's the thing. Everybody, and again, I'm just saying this because I've been there. Okay. Everybody keeps saying, "Oh, I feel so sorry for these head coaches." I don't, because they're getting a huge payout. I feel sorry for the 85 sports staff and the flipping coaches that may have a 1 or 2 year contract. That's who I feel sorry for. That's where I was at. Hey, sign me up for a $53 million buyout. Okay, sign me up.
Yeah. I used to say all the time, my dream was to get hired.
So sorry for him. I don't, because guess what? When you don't do your job, you get fired, don't you?
yeah.
Except for ADs that don't do their job, they don't get fired.
Yeah, the lack of patience is alarming.
Microwave society, baby.
Yeah. And now you got, like, at LSU, you got the governor involved. He's saying we're not going to pay 10 years, $100 million. Okay.
Well, that's because because they probably told him. Because, again, that's just $53 million to him. Okay. What about the 85 sports staff and the coaches that are under contract? Okay.
That's another $20 million.
Thank you. Okay. So we're looking at an $80 million flip just on people that are leaving. Okay. Now let's talk about who you're bringing in. There's another $30 million right off the top. Okay. Right off the top. At least. I'm talking that's because you're going to lose 50% of your players in portal. Then you're going to spend more money on the high school kids to keep them. Right. So you're looking at another $30 million. You're looking at $100 million on a flip. On a flip. Yeah.
And
that's the ADs that, and I'll say this, and I don't care who hears it. The ADs that fired coaches before week 4 should be fired, because now your players can go right after game 4. They can go, I'm good. I'm a redshirt, and screw the rest of them. Okay. At least after week 4, they can't do that. Right. So again, See, that's why I went off. They got me started, and I was like, oh yeah, I feel real sorry for a guy that's going to pick up $53 million. No, I don't. You know,
yeah, we've never had 8 Power 4 jobs open by Halloween. I mean,
no,
this is unprecedented.
Yeah.
Well, Drew, let's Texas versus Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
I mean, this might be
the talk about Vanderbilt. This ain't your dad's Vanderbilt anymore.
Right. So, give us your thoughts. You probably have a bunch of, guys on the Vanderbilt team that you're looking at.
Yeah.
Give us an idea of what Texas is facing.
They're facing a receiver that's, got 5 total TD receptions, and he's averaging over 80 yards a game. You got,
Junior Sherrill.
Yeah. And Cedric Alexander, he's got 10 total touchdowns. Okay. And how about this? You'd think like 8 of them are rushing. Nah, it's 50-50. It's 5 and 5. So it's 5 rushing, 5, receiving. And Diego's still at about a 68% clip on completion percentage. And he's still only thrown like 3 picks. I mean, he's making good choices. He's throwing the ball better than he did last year. And then his security blanket's his ex-teammate, that he brought with him, Eli Stowers. And that kid's real. And, he's going to go high. Defensively, they got a pass rusher that they're going to have to account for with Capers. He's got 4.5, but he's got like 32 pressures. And that's big. And then they've got a backup linebacker that's the next highest in sacks because he's their blitz guy, Rinaldi. So, and they brought in a safety that's an underclassman that I love, CJ Hurd. And he's not just good against the run and coming down and inserting. He is really good in coverage too. Coach Lee's done a great job. He really has. And I said this when we talked last time. I mean, when I went there, I go, they don't look like a MAC team anymore. They look like an SEC ball club. So they've done a really good job of, filling their needs in the portal. They've done a really, really good job, high school recruiting and developing from within, and the thing is, the head man and that quarterback, they got a mentality, and the team took on that character from both of them because, he's a bulldog, the quarterback, and the head man, yeah, he's a tough guy too. I mean, he's a fullback, so that'll tell you something. He's okay with running into people for no reason whatsoever. So again, that's what they're in for. They better account for the pass rusher. They better be aware that, hey, they're not slow anymore. They're not going to get pushed around. They're doing a really, really good job on defense. Their defense coordinator is really doing a good job. Jerry Kill's not the offensive coordinator, on, the offensive side, but, he helps the coordinator, and they've done a really good job. And Jerry's always done a great job wherever he's been offensively, taking advantage of what they do best. So I said this before, don't sleep on Vanderbilt. Don't, because they will put you to sleep.
Yeah, what makes their offense so hard to defend, Drew? I mean, they run that.
Say it's easy. To say it's easy, you got to defend all 11.
Yeah.
And when you're a defensive coordinator, you hate defending against the quarterback all the time because it's not just the option piece. It's when you're rushing and you open up pass rush lanes. I mean, God forbid you're in man and you got your back turned to the quarterback because he could go 60, So then it's like you go man and then you play a rat or a spy, whatever you want to call it. Then you got to spy him with somebody else you got to take out of coverage. So, it makes it hard because you limit what you can do versus the run because you got to account for the quarterback, in the option. But then you also have to account for him when he actually throws because if you don't, he could really hurt you. There's guys that are effective escape guys. This guy's a run threat, and run threats are a pain, because you're taking somebody out of your defense to account for him. You are. So, and again, I didn't mean to cut you off, but that's how easy it is. You have to defend all 11, and I used to hate having to defend all 11, because hey, a big stiff quarterback, I'm good. I ain't worried about him. I don't have to take anybody out of coverage. I'm rushing him with 4, and all my 4 guys, maybe 3 are going to get to him. So
How would you defend Vanderbilt?
Ooh, you got to change your supports for the run. You got to make sure that your outside linebackers aren't getting caught up with the RPOs because he's going to take advantage of that. You got to make sure you're really good in space tackling. I would not blitz this team. I mean, there's no reason to. Versus the run, I just make sure my alleys are covered, just because it's either it's the quarterback in the alley or it's the running back in the alley, and then I'm going backside and it's a dive hot alley on the other side. So you've got to be real sound in both flats, as far as who's going to be there. Because if you don't have anybody there, then he's running clean. And like I said, God forbid you're in man coverage. You better, when you're in man coverage, you better make sure you account for him in not just your run fits, but in pass rush lanes and how you contain him. That's just my take on it.
Yeah. And they Texas did not have Michael Taff last week, and Michael Taff is sort of their command mission control in the secondary, gets everyone lined up, and they didn't have him, and they gave up 382 yards passing, including some big chunk plays right over the middle of the field.
Don't kid yourself. Now Jeff Libby's good now.
Yeah.
I mean, he did learn from father-in-law now.
Yeah. Art Briles.
Yes. And a lot of people don't know that's father-in-law, and he coached with him for a long time. So, Jeff's a good ball coach. Don't kid yourself. I mean, he's gonna put 300 on a lot of people easily. He's saying 300's. No. See, if you give up 200, okay, you had a good day. So
yeah.
I'm going to interrupt you there, Chip. Go ahead, dude. Sorry. I'm
a
little salty today.
Well, and Michael Taff, I mean, that kid is so valuable to this Texas team. He doesn't have the size, he doesn't have the speed, but what do you make of him as a prospect, an NFL prospect?
Well, I mean, again, it's all about being big and fast. I mean, my mantras. I mean, I got brought up in this business by Bill Parcells, and small guys wear down, big guys don't get any smaller. Okay. And you win in November. Bottom line. I mean, can you survive with certain guys in certain spots? Yes. The value that he brings isn't his body. It's his mind. And being in the right place at the right time, controlling the back end, probably controlling the backers drops too at some point. Granted, it's great to have a guy like that. But again, it's hard for guys that size to last in the NFL. It's just hard. I mean, it's like a pickup truck running into a VW. I mean, who's going to win? I mean, it's easy. So, I mean, heck, I was 5'9", 212 pounds, and got broken up every single Saturday. And I felt like I was in a car wreck every Sunday, and it's hard. So the league's going to look at him and, automatically go take 2 notches out of him just because of his height and his length and his size. Bottom line. And somebody's going to have to fall in love with him and say, I got a place for him. He's a good fit for what we do on defense. We're going to have to protect him because there's not a lot of history of a lot of guys, that size being impact players in the NFL. Just not. I mean, Winfield, everybody was kicking Winfield, when he came out. And he's a little bit bigger than Taft, but not much. And he's hurt and he misses games, and that's just going to happen. But, he makes an impact in the game when he starts. So I like the player. I do. And, I wish him all his best, and I hope he, is healthy, and I hope he's playing well. I like what he does. And I really respect what he is as a player, just from what he brings to that defense. And I know that coordinator, and I know Dwayne Akina does too, because, hey, it's great when you got smart guys to coach. It's great when you have great players. Great players make you a great coach. Great brains and being smart and being able to make sure your defense is sound also makes you a pretty damn good coach too.
You're talking about Winfield Jr. at Tampa Bay, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
That's what I thought.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And then, okay, and I'm going to give you a Parcells right now, okay? And this is what he used to spring. Name me another. Seriously, that's what he do. I mean, because he knew the history of it. And it was like, And again, that quote came from him, you know, and it wasn't, he manufactured that because it's true, you know. And dude, when we were there, that like fourth year, we're the biggest defense you've ever seen. I mean, huge. I mean, put it this way, DeMarcus Ware and Anthony Spencer were small, you know, compared to Chris Canty, you know, and Hatcher, you know, and Ratliff. I mean, we were huge and big backers. I mean, you know, we were built to win games in November. And again, those guys, they're, as he said, they're built to last. Okay. So, and I use the pickup analogy because I used to say that, you know, because that's how I felt. I was the VW getting hit by the pickup trucks all the time, you know.
And Jimmy wanted those fast guys.
I was, but it doesn't matter, dude. Hey, because again, you are going to get hit. And the ones I respect the most, I mean, because, well, again, he was a receiver, right? It's easier to avoid hits as a receiver than it is to avoid hits as a quarterback. It just is. Because I was a stationary object a lot of times. I'm like, dudes are just hitting me like a pinata. Okay. But now, like Cole Beasley, he was a master at going down at the right time. And I said, he is a self-preservationist. It's true. I mean, it was like he'd go for like 6 yards and he'd see something come, I'm down. Right? Wouldn't take the hit. Right? You know, avoid a guy, go down. I mean,
Tyler Lockett does that.
Yes. Yes. And that's what I'm saying. They understand that they can't get hit that much because those dudes now, and again, I don't know if you guys have like picked up the latest helmets, like how much they weigh, but I've got some from like back in like 1988, and they feel like they're like 7 pounds to like 1 pound, right? So these guys are wearing less padding, they're lighter, they're bigger, they're running faster, right? I mean, like I said, I love some small players, and I always say I always have a couple of, you know, mascots that I really like, but there ain't many of them because I know better. I just do, you know.
Yeah.
Too long of an answer. I apologize.
No, never too long of an answer, Drew. We appreciate
it, dude, because I'm salty today, dude. I ain't gonna lie.
We like it, Drew, man.
I'm
We like
agents right now. I'm salty about a lot of things right now. Yeah.
Drew, let me ask you this. I don't know how much you saw that Mississippi State game for Texas, but obviously 2 back-to-back games where you go into overtime against, I know it's the SEC, but 2 teams on the bottom of the SEC. What are you seeing from this Texas ball club, and how much faith do you have in them going into this game against Vanderbilt to pull out the dub?
I don't know if it's faith. I mean, what I can say is that they've shown some damn resilience. And now, if they wouldn't dig themselves a hole, I mean, I think they'd be a heck of a lot better off. They've got to play more consistently. They can't make mistakes, you know, because they can't make up for it, you know, like they used to. And again, they lost a lot of players. And, you know, again, I was kind of excited what, you know, Arch did at the end. I mean, you know, he did some really nice things at the end. I'd love to see him be able to run the football, you know, take some pressure off of him. You know, they're playing good defense. I mean, but there's some busts here and there. And, you know, they played really, really well against Oklahoma and kind of stagnated a little bit. So, I mean, faith, I mean, I like what he Stark's done. I like, you know, what, you know, Brandon's done as a GM. I mean, building the roster. I like what they've done. I just think they got to grow up. And, you know, they're playing a lot of young dudes. And they're playing a lot of guys that probably didn't have a ton of reps. I mean, really, Zay. I mean, that's kind of what I'm seeing. It looks like, you know, the inexperience is shown pretty early. You know, now there's some young guys that played really well. I mean, really well. So, but like you said, faith. I don't know. I really don't.
You got your eyes on that Miami SMU game this week?
You know, I kind of do. You know, it may not be a great day to be a Mustang. You know, may not be, because they're going to come in fired up again. You know, they really are, and they're better. They're a better football team. You know, but Rhett does a great job of scheming guys up and putting points on the board. And they play good, solid defense. I mean, you know, they're giving up too many points, but you know, if they can just slow them down a little bit, they can stay in it, because offensively, Coach Lax is always going to put points on the board. I mean, he does a really, really good job. I just know how pissed off Mario probably was after that Louisville game. And kind of showed in that second half down there in Miami, didn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But my eyes are on it. Yeah, I do want to see that because I want to see those guys perform the way I expect them to, on both teams.
Is there anyone on SMU that's you're kind of eyeballing?
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple defensive linemen that are pretty good. And I wish I could remember them right off the top of my head. Emba, the kid, was with me at Auburn. He's having a good year. And I think maybe McDonald, if I remember right, another D lineman. We got a backer that was on our 300. There's a receiver that was on our 300. They've got a good, solid group. And, again, I can't remember them all because, I got 600 guys on the board right now. We're going through them. And I'm missing a quarterback meeting right now with the area scouts. So, I love y'all. See, I don't cancel off. I mean,
hey, we appreciate that.
I'm gonna fulfill my obligation.
We appreciate that.
Yeah. So I mean, again, the ones that I'm really interested in, I'm really interested to see how Duke does at Clemson. I really am. I want to see how Clemson. I want to see if Klubnik's going to play. I do. I hope he's healthy. I hope he shows everybody, that he's resilient. I hope he shows that he can come back. But the game down there in Austin is the marquee game of the day, except for the cocktail party. Yeah. Yeah. So, and I always loved that game. Always loved that game. And
2:30.
Yeah, it's kind of like the OU Texas game in a way. It's like that, and it's crazy now, and it is a giant cocktail party. Yeah. Which people, where can you go in this country and see more draftable players in one place at one time other than the Panini Senior Bowl? Nowhere. Okay.
So get your tickets now.
Yes, and it is a giant cocktail party too.
There we go.
Right there in Mobile.
Just saying, if you've never been, you better think about it. Because again, every guy that's playing is going to get drafted. Every guy.
Boom.
So again, can you say that if you go to this game at Texas over the weekend, can you say every guy in that field is going to get drafted?
Nah.
No, sir.
I can.
Oh. Yeah, you can.
I can say it about the Senior Bowl.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But no, not everybody in that field is going to get drafted. So again, I think people have to understand that this is not just, a local thing. This is somewhere where you can go and, have access to practices for free. I mean, tickets are very inexpensive. At South Alabama, what a great stadium they built. And there's not a bad seat in the house. I mean, it's like 28,000 and seriously, there's not a bad seat in the whole place. Really not. And it's so well done by South Alabama. So, again, I'm trying to pump it up a little bit because it's true. I mean,
January 31st.
Correct. You get tickets right now, seniorbowl.com.
You ever talk to my man, Major Applewhite?
I do. We actually went out to dinner with him and Julie right before the season. And I was like, I'm gonna leave you alone now. You go do what you do. I go do what I do. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it all after. But yeah, I've known Major since I was down there in Austin. We've known each other for a long time. Great people. He's lost some heartbreakers this year. They're trying to build some resources for him here because he can't compete against some of the teams in his conference financially. And I hope they help him out because he does a good job. And like I said, really tight games. The only time they got really whacked was, in North Texas. That was really it.
Yeah.
Because they played Auburn all the way to the middle of the third.
They played Tulane super tight.
Yeah. Yeah. Arkansas, all of them been really tight. So, but yeah, I really enjoyed having, Major around. It was nice to be down here, at least have a couple of friendly faces when we moved into town,
Who's the best G5 player on your board right now, Drew?
Ooh. Do you count San Diego State as a G5?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm trying to remember his name. Let me see if I can see it from over here. Hold on 1 second. Chris Johnson, corner at San Diego State. Yep. And don't be surprised if he doesn't go day 2.
Damn.
Yeah. Good player. Really good player.
What stands out about him?
Oh, matches routes. When guys can match routes all over the field in man coverage, that's big, huge. I mean, most people can play zone. Most people can play with their eyes. It's, if you can match routes in man-to-man and be sticky, not waste steps, be in phase and make plays on the ball, especially in man, you can play the NFL because that's what everybody's looking for. Like I said, everybody plays zone. Everybody. There ain't many dudes who can play man-to-man coverage. There's not. Not against these receivers these days because there's some dudes, that are playing outside now. So, yeah, I'd say he's the best G5 guy right now. And there's an offensive lineman at Boise, an offensive tackle. He'd probably be number 2.
Speaking of offense,
I can't see his name from here, Zach. Sorry.
No, that's all good.
I'm a good ways from my board.
speaking of offensive line, Drew, Vanderbilt plays strong side tackle and quick tackle.
Do you know why?
Yeah, tell us why.
Because it doesn't change your blocking rules then. That's why they do it. The quick side always has the same rules on every play. If you didn't do that, you run the same play, your rules change. So what you can do is you can run more plays, run plays, and in pass protection than you could if you stayed just left and right. That's how simple it is. That goes all the way back to Vince Lombardi, all the way back. And if I remember right, now I don't think Arkansas does it right now, but Bobby Petrino did that throughout his career. Always did quick side and strong side, always. And it's that simple. It makes it so much easier for the offensive lineman to learn all the rules for all the run fit, all the run plays, and all their protections. That's why. Great question. Not a lot
You
of
don't
people
see
know
that very often.
No, and not a lot of people even know that either, Chip. I mean, seriously, they don't. They don't know that. And again, if I wouldn't have coached, I wouldn't have known it either. Really wouldn't have. So just being honest.
Zay, you got one more?
Yeah, Drew. Oklahoma, Tennessee. You like anything about that game?
Is it at Tennessee? I think
Yes.
it's at Tennessee. Tennessee wins.
Dang, just like that?
Just like that. Yeah.
Rocky Top.
Rocky Top is a very difficult place to play. Oklahoma's hard. Tennessee is harder. And what time of day is it? Or is it night?
Night.
I think it's night.
6:30 on ABC.
They will be well lubed up by that time, and it will smell like bourbon in the stadium. Yes, they will be rocking. They're pretty good defensively. They're not great in the back end, but offensively, they have really kind of progressed each week, and they've got 2 real dudes at receiver and good solid running game. Their offensive line's good kind of across the board. There's one that's really good, and the quarterback's played really, really well. He really has. And Heifel's still going to put up. He's still going to put up 40. I mean, as good as they think that defense is, I'll bet you he puts up 40.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, if you're Lane Kiffin, what do you do?
I've said this. I mean, I stay at Ole Miss. I mean, he's done a great job there. They're supporting him well. They're paying him well. He's got his family there. His family likes it there. I mean, can he compete for a national championship? Maybe, but he's also not expected to go win a national championship every other year either. And, having that kind of pressure on you makes your life miserable. I mean, it does. So, I mean, I could see him maybe doing it just because he's like, hell, I hadn't won a national championship and I'd love to win one, on my own. And I could see him doing that. But damn, the Ole Miss job is a pretty good job now. It really is. And people don't realize, I mean, Ole Miss has got a lot of money. I mean, they can compete with everybody in the SEC. They can. So, and again, he's proved he can pull talent there, and it's not hard to get to. So, I mean, there's a lot of jobs that are hard to get to. I mean, you make it a hard job. Like Penn State, it's a hard job.
Yeah.
James Franklin did an incredible job, because there's no easy way to get to State College. I mean, none. You can't. I mean, even flying in there. One time I flew in there for like a pro day, I thought I was going to die. Everybody in the plane. I mean, we dropped 6-7 times, like 60, 70 feet, like just dropped out of the bucket. And I looked at, because Jerry Sullivan was their receiver coach with, I can't remember who he was with in the league then, but he's legendary receiver coach, been at LSU, and he coached all those dudes. But I looked back at Jerry, and he looked at me, we're going to effing die. Right. And I mean, and I'm going like, I never want to fly into State College ever again, because it's surrounded by mountains.
Yeah.
You're dropping in fast, and then the thermals hit you up, and it just bounces you down, and it was dropping out. I'm going like, I told my wife, I said, I will drive from Philly or Pittsburgh every time that I go to State College from now on. I'm never flying in there again.
Is that where you fly into if you don't fly into State College?
Yeah, and it's a 2.5-hour drive both ways. Yeah. So it's not easy to get to. Like I said, and here's the other thing. And this is just my take on it. When they were good, it's because the population was bigger, because there was so much manufacturing going on, so much steel, so much, industry that was supplying Pennsylvania in that area with people. Well, none of that's there anymore. And everybody moved south. So now you got to go down and fight everybody else. Everybody's going to Florida. Everybody's going to the south. Well, now you compete with everybody, because Pennsylvania maybe has 10 guys that are 4-star above every year.
They used to be like Ohio.
How many does Texas have? I mean, like 50 or 60. I mean, that's what makes that job hard. And James did a really good job. And they're going to find out that it's not as easy as they think, So it is what it is. But, again, I'm staying at Ole Miss. That's just my take. Now if I want to go try to win a national championship and be miserable for about 4 or 5 years, I'll take the LSU job. Because Ole Miss to me is a better job than Florida too, because it's the same thing. You're expected to win a national championship at Florida. Do you think everybody at Ole Miss says you're expected to win a national championship at Ole Miss? Do you think that's ever brought up?
No.
They'll say, we'd love to go to the playoffs, right? Have a chance. But do they say, you got to win it, right? So he wins 10 games, they want him to win 11. He wins 11, they want him to win 12, right? But do they ever say, you got to win a national championship, keep your job?
No, because
some of these places do.
They're having too much fun in the Grove.
Yeah. Like I said, his family's there too. His family likes it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he'll make a decision what's best for both him and his family. I really believe that, And Oxford's a cool place too. Now, small, but it's a cool place. It really is.
Drew, you're the best. We love it. We love the conversation. Thanks for missing your meeting for us.
Sorry, I'm salty today. I apologize.
No, you're good. Hey, you bring that salt in here whenever you want.
All right, fellas. Well, hey, I got one more, and then I'm going to my meeting. So I need to catch up with my boys. All right, but
appreciate you.
Thank you all.
All right, there he is, Drew Fabianich, Executive Director of the Panini Senior Bowl. He joins us on Thursdays, on Off the Rail Thursdays.
Man, what a day.
What a day, baby.
Hey, golly.
All right, let's get a couple mentions in here, and then we'll get to the commentary. It's been an incredible day. Michael Griffin, Lance Taylor, Drew Fabianich, and Humann. Listen, I don't know if y'all know this about me, but I have been a connoisseur of supplements. I'm not even going to name all the supplements I've tried, because I'm here to talk about Humann, baby. Humann with 2 N's. And I cannot tell you how much I endorse the Super Beats from Humann. And first and foremost, the research for Humann's products was conducted at the University of Texas Health Science Center, Nobel Prize winning research. And that's why they've partnered with Texas. And you see the Humann logo on the field. But more importantly, guys and gals, if you want to feel the best you've ever felt, It starts right here with the Super Beats Heart Chews. I mean, it's heart health, and it has so many good positive effects that I can't even tell you. And, I love the turmeric chews as well because, I'm still active. And these turmeric chews help with reducing inflammation. I love all the products from Humann, including the Glinocalyx. These products are going to make you feel so much better than you feel right now. It's going to get rid of your brain fog. You're going to feel, more energy, and you're doing good things for your body, based on incredible scientific research. So go to Humann with 2Ns.com/TSU and use the promo code TSU, and you're going to get 20% off your order. And I would load up because get 20% off as much as you can, and you're going to see for yourself the Super Beats Heart Chews, the turmeric chews, the Glinocalyx. I take the Super Beats powder. All the University of Texas athletes take the Super Beats powder. You take that before you go out and work out. You're going to feel better, and you're going to thank Humann with 2 N's. Humann.com/TSU. Use promo code TSU and get 20% off of your purchase. And hey, when you're ready for the big screen of your dreams, our man, Tom McKay, Audiovisual Consultations, got you covered. In Austin, Texas, he is the guy to call. He's been doing it for 37 years. He's put big screens and surround sound in 3 different houses for me in my time in Austin, and he's ready and able to help you get the big screen of your dreams. He's going to bring you the best price on big screens. And we're talking the best of the best. LG, the surround sound, Sonos, these are the best products you can get. That's what Tom is working with. He can help you out with surveillance. He can help you out with electronic shades, new lighting. He's got you covered. Got the holidays coming up. Treat yourself. If your big screen's not big enough to make you feel like you're at the game or on the sideline at the game, then treat yourself. All you have to do is make a simple phone call, 255-8678. I'll say it again slow, 255-867. Look at me. I can't do it slow. So go to Audiovisual Consultations, avconsultations.com, 255-8678. And thank me later. And cover 3, baby, cover 3. We're off the rails on a Thursday, which means you got a big old football game tonight. UTSA and Tulane, Jeff Traylor and his Roadrunners. You want to catch that? You want to catch all the games, the World Series, all the games this weekend? How about brunch at Cover 3? Cover 3 Anderson, Cover 3 Round Rock. Great brunch. The breakfast quesadilla, the do-it-yourself Bloody Mary bar. You want some shrimp and bacon in your Bloody Mary? Oh, yeah. Cover 3's got you covered. The Chop House Burger, Texas Monthly says, one of the best in the state of Texas. The Sean Adams Prime Rib Sandwich. Let's go. Cover 3 Anderson, Cover 3 Round Rock. All right, Zay. Great show today. If you missed any part of it, make sure you check out the podcast. You can find it on YouTube. Please, like and subscribe to the Texas Sports Unfiltered YouTube channel. Feel free to leave us a 5-star review wherever you listen to us. Because, we're trying to make this fun infotainment for you today. Michael Griffin, who, of course, knows Zay from when Zay was probably still talking like when his voice was still high. You know what I mean? Maybe it wasn't. Maybe they don't go that far back. But
no, we go far back.
Yeah,
I mean,
go far back.
my voice still gets high. Depending on
What do you mean?
Nah, man. You see how I did that reverse psychology on Mike? He was hating on the jersey in the back. How about you give me one, Mike?
Right. Give me that 27.
Yeah, 27. I'll take a Marcus jersey. 26. Talking about Marcus don't know me. Marcus know me very well.
See?
Come on now.
Come on
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. That went well.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm the chip shot today. I'm going to talk about LSU because this is stranger than fiction. What we're watching down there in the great state of Louisiana. And if you have not seen the press conference from the governor, Jeff Landry, I mean, he is a character straight out of Hollywood with his Robideau, Thibodeau, Cajun accent. And he's got all of his lieutenants lined up next to him. And he is talking about how Jeff Woodward is not going to be picking the next, or Scott Woodward's not going to be picking the next football coach at LSU. I'd rather, he just says stuff.
Man. Is that your Louisiana accent?
No, it's terrible.
No, it's not bad. I like it.
I mean, but it is so spot on Louisiana. You have to watch the press conference just to appreciate the true Louisiana accent, the Cajun, Robideau, Thibodeau. But the governor getting involved in this and saying we're not, he wants Scott Woodward fired because he authorized the contract to Jimbo at Texas A&M, and that resulted in a $77 million buyout. He authorized the Brian Kelly contract, which is now, got a $54 million buyout, and it went sideways at LSU. There's no question about it. Brian Kelly did a poor job of hiring his staff the first time around. He let go of guys that he ended up bringing back. He just seemed disconnected. I've said that on this show numerous times. I said that Any Given Saturday documentary that you can catch on ESPN, I thought made Brian Kelly look disconnected. And I told you that Scott Woodward had a lot to do with Bo Davis going from Texas to LSU, that Brian Kelly was not really the guy driving that hire. And that's why Bo Davis left, because he got there and he didn't feel supported by Brian Kelly. He was like, yeah, let me go back to the NFL. And so it was surprising because Brian Kelly, the all-time winningest coach at Notre Dame, thought that he was going to be going from, competing in a NASCAR race with a bicycle to, going to LSU, where he was going to be able to get all the players he wanted. But he wasn't the one driving the recruiting. He wasn't the one establishing the relationships. He wasn't the one that the players felt drawn to. They were drawn to LSU, Tiger Stadium, the history, all the players in the NFL, the Joe Burrow season. And so he wore people out, and Scott Woodward was going to have him make some more changes. I don't know that it was necessarily headed toward Brian Kelly getting fired, but then it dissolved real fast last Sunday. And then the governor jumps in. And the governor, as it turns out, has some axe to grind with Scott Woodward. Scott Woodward is a very politically savvy athletic director who does not draw attention to himself. He likes to work, in the background. But he hired Kim Mulkey. She won a national championship. He's made some good hires, and everyone thought that the Brian Kelly hire was going to be a good hire. But yeah, this governor, Jeff Landry, he's now jumped in the middle of this thing. And I'm not sure that that's I know it's not as good a job as we thought a week ago before that press conference, because LSU doesn't have a president right now. And it looks like, they're going to name a president here pretty quickly. And it's going to be a guy that Jeff Landry endorses because he's got control of the board of governors. He appoints those people, and he's got like 3 or 4 more appointments that he gets to make next year. He'll have total control of the board of governors. And like, we haven't seen this kind of, I'll say, meddling, for those who think Jeff Landry's like on the right side of this thing, involvement from the governor's office since Huey Long. When no offense to the Louisianans out there, but they know Huey Long was running stuff any way he wanted. It was above board, below board. It was just Huey Long's way of doing things. And the fact that we're back at that juncture in this day and age, and he's out there saying we're not going to pay $10 million a year and $100 million with 90% guaranteed. And he's talking about how the taxpayers are going to be on the hook for the $53 million that Brian Kelly's owed. And there's the governor's also making it sound like he's going to fight that in court. He's not going to pay the whole thing. I mean, this thing is such a bleep show that if I'm Lane Kiffin, I don't want to go into that. Like, how important is alignment? Texas fans, how important is alignment? Because you lived that experience with Steve Patterson and the whole wake of Mac Brown and DeLoss Dodds and the big money guys who wanted to talk to Nick Saban, and then it all blew up, and it was Charlie Strong and Tom Herman and 10, 15 years of wandering around in the college football desert. You got to have alignment, because a football coach wants to know who his boss is going to be. And right now, the governor's saying Scott Woodward's going to be out, and there's no president. Why on earth would you go to LSU until you know who those people are and if you agree with how they see things? Because that's your lifeline. And that's the guy that's going to approve your NIL spending and tell you, yeah, you're good. We got this much and we're doing this. And yeah, you can hire that guy. I'm just saying, Zay, LSU is a great job. It's the only flagship university in the state of Louisiana, a talent-rich state. All those great players who've come through that program, and the fans are amazing. I've been to Tiger Stadium numerous times. It's one of the best tailgate scenes. But like, the governor wanted a live Bengal tiger to be paraded around the stadium, so he had one brought in from Florida while Mike the Tiger is in his 15,000 foot, tiger. It's not a cage because it's 15,000 square feet, but it's his exhibit across the street. So it's not even Mike the Tiger that was, going around the field. I mean, the governor did that. That's how, much he's putting his hands on everything. So it's, that job feels like a mess right now. I know someone's going to take it, but I think they may end up with Summerall from Tulane.
Which would be a good get.
Be a good get, and you wouldn't be, but you got to make him feel like he's worth something. I don't know. That job feels like it is absolutely shoot, ready, aim right now.
Which I'll take that. Don't the Horns go to Tiger Stadium next year? Think that next year? Or is that the year after?
I know they're going to Tennessee because I'm excited about that. Well, let's get to the right call, and I'll check on that.
Let's get it. Let's go. Before that, though, shout out to Covert BK, family owned and operated. A lot of y'all need cars out there. The cars that y'all have now, you're putting more money into it than it's actually worth. Stop doing that. Go to Covert BK and let those guys hook you up like they hooked my wife and myself up getting that Buick Encore GT. We absolutely love it. And if you don't want to take my word for how great Covert BK is, listen to these fine folks at Covert BK.
You see Covert everywhere. It's that personal level of just feeling like it's a personal family interaction.
The customer service, it's impeccable. It's unlike anything I've ever experienced buying a car.
Over the 30 years that I've been buying cars from them, I feel like I know them and they know me.
Covert's done an amazing job of making me feel valued. If you purchase a vehicle and you want to feel like you're part of a family, join the Covert family.
Come and experience it for yourself.
Covert, born and raised in Austin.
I'll see Mike's a Covert guy. So, hey, Mike knows, I know, I'll get the Covert. Nobody beats a Covert deal. Not now, not ever.
Texas is at LSU, at Missouri, and at Tennessee next year.
Yeah, I'll take it. I hope it stays like this. Like, that would be a nice first impression for the Horns going to Tiger Stadium. Some just complete chaos, and yeah, we'll take that. All right, Shep. So this is the right call. We're going to have a little side segment for the right call throughout.
Side segment.
Yeah, side segment.
Okay.
It's basically going to be, what did Klay Thompson do last night? Because as we know, as we mentioned this week, and we've mentioned for the last month or so, since this relationship has become so public, Klay Thompson is dating Meg the Stallion. And I think this is the last time we're ever going to see Klay be valuable. Those years are over. So, Mavs fans, this is for you. We're going to do that after every game that the Mavs play. What were Klay Thompson's stats? You ready, Chip? They played the Pacers last night. I think they got a 2-point win. So they won. Klay's stats, though, in 22 minutes: 5 points, 2 for 10 from the field. One of the greatest three-point shooters of all time, 1 for 6. And in the last 5 games, he is shooting a solid 25.9% from 3. That's all he could do. 1 rebound, 1 assist, 0 steals, 0 blocks. So at one point in time, this guy was one of the best two-way players in the league. Great three-point shooter, great defender. He ain't getting you a block. He ain't getting you a steal. And it got more serious, Chip, because Meg the Stallion and Klay just bought a house. As you can see, Klay comfortably just look at him resting his head on her shoulder. He's done. He's done, man. No, this ain't father time. I'm watching Steph Curry drop 30 a night. This ain't father time. He can still shoot the ball. He should be able to still shoot the ball.
He's shooting 31% from 2.
Yeah. No, this ain't father time. We can't say that right now. This is Klay being just straight up engulfed in his woman, which we love. I love that.
I want to be engulfed in his woman. I mean, I want him to be engulfed in his woman.
I want that. But once you buy the house, oh man, it's really over. It's really over. Like, you see they doing the love hand signs and stuff like that. It's over. It's over. Mavs fans, you could blame Nico Harrison all you want for Luka, but this is also a real problem. Anthony Davis got hurt last night. You knew that was bound to happen. It only took 5 games. Cooper's going
5 games.
It only took 5 games. Now he's out. So, Mavs fans, I think y'all are the worst team in Texas. I'll take the Rockets and Spurs over the Mavs. And now that Meg's doing her thing, like there's no coming back from this. Just retire. He's better off retiring. But we're going to keep track all year long. What's Klay Thompson doing? Because I got to know. Maybe it'll turn. Maybe it'll change. He's still in that honeymoon stage, man. Because, again, Chip, you shoot bad, you play bad. Is life bad, though? It can't be. It can't be. A lot of the guys would say, man, I'm going to stay at the facilities and get up more shots to work on my game. Man, I'd be in my car so quick trying to race home for that Meg Thee Stallion, that WAP. She got that WAP. She said it. Her and Cardi B, they came out with that song. She said it. Yeah, Clay's
that
done.
picture you showed the other day?
Oh, man, she's done. She was at the game doing that.
She's wearing a see-through T-shirt with nothing.
You know what she's doing? She knows what she do. She wants him to be distracted. She wants that.
Hey, the good news is they're only paying him $16.7 million to shoot 31% from 2.
Yo, 25% from 3. That's tough. That's tough. Like he's checked out. He's checked out. All right, Shep. So you know my girl, Carly Ursay Gordon. She spoke with the media the other day because
this is your new owner of the Indy Colts, who are right now the AFC number 1 seed.
Best team in the league right now, and it's all because of her. Listen to how she just deals with the media and how she just talks to them, and she talks about just her purpose for the team because people see her on the sideline. She's fly. She looks good. She's got the notepad. She's got the headset on, and people are like, oh, this is just a bit. It ain't no bit. And listen to why it ain't no bit.
I need to learn more about this. I need to be able to say, is this person full of BS? Do they even know what they're talking about? And I think one of the things that being on the headset has really helped me learn is, to the question earlier, it's such a complex organism, a football team and how it operates. And on game day, and you could say, oh, that person ran that route wrong. When you learn to find, oh, someone tagged the wrong wide receiver, and it wasn't really the player's fault. It was the person that called it. So, and it's never, I think that's been a very valuable, because it also helps us be able to know, where do we need to make tweaks? What resources do we need? What do we need to fix? So much of it comes down to just how we operate and how things work. And the headsets are really, I wish more, I would suggest it for anyone else that has to pay coaches and GMs millions and millions of dollars. It helps you make a less expensive mistake potentially.
Look at that. She put another GMs and owners on game. Like, she's a trendsetter, man. I ain't gotta tell you. Y'all see it. She's changing the game. She's changing the way we view football, way we think about football. We need this at the right time. She's coming in at the right time. Family grieving, the whole organization grieving because of her late father and wondering, where do we go from here? And she said, you know what, Dad? I got you. I got you. You're going to be able to rest easy. Me and my sisters, we got you. We going to make you proud. And she's done that. And I respect the hell out of her for it. That's why she's one of my favorite people in all of sports right now, because I know it's hard as hell. I know her being a woman just in the industry alone, she's going to get wrong turning heads. And I'm glad she's proven those people wrong, that she's just a nepotism baby. No, she's busting her ass to make sure the team that her father loved with all his heart is keeping that thing going and making it look good while doing it.
Hey, don't forget about my girl, Sheila Ford Hamp. She's running the Lions.
She is.
And thank God she took over from the rest of her family that was stuck in the mud. Sheila's like, all right, let me step in here, Let me run this show. And a lot to be said. We got a couple of really strong, solid, progressive new faces in ownership. Your girl, Carly Ursay, and my girl, Sheila Ford Hamp.
No, Sheila Ford's done a hell of a job. Yeah.
Let's go.
I respect it.
Sheila Ford Hamp is only worth $2 billion.
Okay.
Hey, to all my single guys out there, it's just as easy to marry rich as it is to marry poor.
What does that mean?
If you don't know, now you know.
You throwing Biggie quotes out there? I mean, I feel you.
It's just as easy to marry rich
was that
as
for
it is to marry poor.
If you don't know, now you know.
What's the line from that Chris Rock movie, I Think I Love My Wife? When that dude says, you will never. He said, you will always go broke chasing women. You'll never go without women chasing money.
Who said that? Steve Buscemi in that movie?
Yeah, whoever that white guy boss is.
Yeah, I think it was Steve Buscemi.
All right, let's bring him in. Patrick and Fanatic Perspective. Open Gym is open. What's up, fellas?
What's up, fellas?
What's going on, man? Yeah, I gotta say, Klay Thompson, though, let's be real. Klay Thompson from day one in the NBA has sucked whenever he dribbles a basketball. He's never been good at dribbling. He's never been good at creating a shot off the dribble. He's a great shooter. But I remember when he was on Team USA and he's like, now that I don't have that evil Steve Kerr telling me to shut up and just shoot, now I can dribble. And he missed every damn shot he took. And they were like, we're pulling you out of the game. We literally want you for defense and threes. You're the best in the league at this. And then you want to be a hero. And all he's doing with the Mavs now is dribbling. 1.4 assists a game, 1.2 turnovers a game. That'll get you benched all, and 25% three-point percentage, get you benched anywhere in the league, unless Nico Harrison's your GM.
Yeah, he's shooting 31% from two.
Yeah, but he's a three-point shooter. All he should be doing, he shouldn't take another two in his career, his entire career. He should never move with the basketball. If he's not open, pass the ball.
Do you think that man is thinking straight with Meg the Stallion on his hip? He ain't thinking straight.
No, I don't think he's been thinking straight since he left, and he didn't have the Warriors and Steph Curry to bail him out of everything. The fact that team was run so well and just had everything going for it, like in that mold, it worked perfectly. All those guys separate, except for Steph. Steph would be great anywhere. But outside of that, every one of those guys is a less player, especially if he could still defend, but he had those two surgeries. You can't. I mean, it doesn't have mobility anymore.
Megan at home massaging his Achilles and stuff.
By the way, did you see the actual the Anthony Davis actual report of what it is?
No, what is it?
Bilateral Achilles tendinopathy. That sounds like a season-long injury right there. Going to keep coming.
That sounds like it needs a lot of rehab.
A lot of rehab.
All right, fellas. See you tomorrow.
All right,
see y'all tomorrow. Welcome into Open Gym here on Texas Sports Unfiltered. Myself, Patrick Davis, alongside my man Steven from Fanatic Perspective, and of course you, the third member of Open Gym. Text lines open 512-222-9328. And of course, over there on the chat on Facebook, Twitch, X, and of course on YouTube. Give us a like and a subscribe if you want to join us over there as well. And Chan says Klay has no jump in his legs anymore. It's not like he's just always been bad off the dribble. And now, because they don't have a point guard, so no one, like, there's no plays being run or really anything because they're trying to play big. And so he's not getting open threes like he always did with the Warriors because you had to chase Steph and they set a bunch of screens. So he has to create a shot, and he's never been good at that. That's not in his bag.
Nah, it's not his bag, but he's always been such a great guy off the catch and so efficient off the catch that it hasn't mattered. I mean,
100%.
he's the guy that was known to get 60 points in 8 dribbles, right?
That's what I'm saying.
So that type of efficiency is crazy, right? But
no, at one point he was probably the best perimeter defender in the league and was the best 3-point shooter in the league at one point in his career.
Right.
And like was dominant at that. And then even when he came back, he wasn't the best defender, but he was still a pretty smart defender, knew how to lead guys the right way, and could hit threes.
His size, because he's a bigger guard. He's always been good at that. Yeah.
And then he went to the Mavs. He'll be better when Kyrie Irving comes back because Kyrie will get him looks. And Kyrie will get him open threes. And then he can do what he does really well. But right now, there's no point guard. And he can't play without a point guard. Which I still don't get how Jason Kidd doesn't understand that you need a point guard. Seems like he should get that, right, Steven? He should understand the concept of point guards being important.
Of all people. And it's not like he doesn't have point guards on the roster. I mean, they're playing Brandon Williams more now, and you had D'Lo there. But let's start Cooper Flag at point guard, and
let's try and stunt
screw
the
up
growth.
his confidence.
Yeah, let's stunt the growth of Cooper Flag instead of putting him in his natural position because he's probably the future of our franchise.
And you want to talk about handle, like Cooper Flag, who's very gifted, and he's going to be fine. For those who are worried, he's going to be fine. This is a process. I know he's not off to the fast start that some of the other young rookies are, like his former Duke teammate, Con Knuppel, who's killing it over in Charlotte, and VJ Edscombe and Dylan Harper. No, he's not off to that type of start. But his game, even at Duke, the thing that was probably the most that needed developing was his handle, even into the tournament when they played Houston. If you remember, Houston kind of got underneath him a little bit, and even though he played well in those games and got his numbers, that's still an area of his game where I would say if all these areas are 9 out of 10 or 10 out of 10, 8, handle was probably a 7 out of 10 for Cooper Flag as a 3.
Yeah.
I'm talking about handle as a 3, let alone as a starting 1 in the NBA.
In the NBA.
No. And that's what happens opening night. All right, we're going to put Stephon Castle on you, pick you up full court, see what happens, brother. You know,
well, and then we're not going to really run plays, so you're going to pass the ball off, and then that guy's never going to look back in your direction again. And you're like, it's just everything about it is ridiculous basketball. Jason Kidd may be trying to get fired. Who knows at this point? He may want to get out of there at some point, but not want to, not lose the money. So maybe that's the case. Maybe he's like, screw it. I'll just do this and they'll fire me. Everyone hates everybody here now anyway. And I'll get out of here and they'll
fire Nico.
Exactly.
Fire Nico.
Exactly. David, I'm glad to have you back on the show, man. How you been?
I'm doing well, sir. I was actually battling the flu. I'm still I'm on the after the rebound, if you will, but this is helping the spirits, man, being here on Open Gym. So
did you get the flu from hanging out with the Mavs fans?
I think so, man. That's when it really hit me, was opening night. But trust me, I was letting them have it. I was one of the main people that I swear to you, I was one of the main people that started the Go Spurs Go chants. It was well worth it.
Boy, that was glorious to see there at on the broadcast, hearing Go Spurs Go at Dallas, seeing Wemby get up and trying to get the crowd up. That was fantastic to see. For a once proud Dallas organization, how quickly that ownership has ruined everything that Mark Cuban built.
It's like that Shannon Sharp clip where he puts his glasses down. I gave it everything I had. That was me in the stand. I left it on American Airlines Center Arena, screaming at the top of my lungs, "Go Spurs, go!"
Yeah, there he goes. Yeah, make sure. Yeah, you can't do the Fire Nico chants though, because Mav security will come get you. Yeah, and honestly, the laws, if they move to Vegas, it's not the worst thing for Dallas. I know Cooper Flag's there now, so that sucks that you lose Cooper Flag. But the reality of this situation would be like, well, if they were to move the team to Vegas, then the name Mavericks would stay in Dallas. Someone else would clearly get it. The expansion team would come to Dallas then. And so you'd have to rebuild a team in Dallas, but you would get rid of those people that were so bad and hurt your franchise so much.
It'd be like the Hornets thing again, right? Where they left and
so they didn't. Yeah, that one took a while, and then they were like, "This is stupid. Let's give the names back because the Bobcats are dumb." Right. So we'll give them the Hornets name back. But now that we know that, now that like Seattle, if they get a team, they're the Supersonics. That was like already set in stone that's where that is.
As it should be.
As it should be. And they're like, there shouldn't be the Las Vegas Mavericks. So it's the Las Vegas Boy Aces. I think that would really change it up. We're the Boy Aces. We're not quite as good as the Girl Aces. They win. We're the worst team in Texas right now. Steven, let's get into a little Texas football talk. Getting into it here. Love to talk some Texas football with you. We got our availability report coming out last night. We've seen now that Arch and Michael Taff both questionable for this. Cole Hudson also moved up from out to questionable from last week. So it is where you're starting to get a little bit closer on some of these names. And I know Cole Hudson isn't the name that is necessarily the most exciting name on this injury report because, he wasn't necessarily playing really good football. But I think you saw a little bit of the difference with Connor Robertson that he didn't. Once again, you're putting somebody in who just can't diagnose anything, and Cole Hudson was at least doing a little bit better job of diagnosing some blitzes. So when Connor Robertson stepped in, it was even worse of how just unaware they are of what is coming at them in every play. And you'll get it to where some plays they all just stand up and let everybody run past them and then go, what's happening? Some plays they triple team one guy and let everybody else run free. It has just been like it would be one thing if they were just getting beat all the time, which does happen enough in the game. But the fact that they are consistently just how many times you watch a guy run past a guy with his hands out in front of him, you're like, this cannot be what you're supposed to be doing. I can't imagine Kyle Flood's like, well, if the guys to your left or the guys to your right don't stick a hand out and just even push them, don't even try and slow them down a half step. Just let them go and then stand there like an idiot. Don't turn around. There's no one else rushing. Don't try I can't imagine that's what he's saying, but that's what they're doing.
Yeah, that's where the lack of in-season development is really on Kyle Flood, regardless of some of the lineup changes, regardless of some of the injuries that have transpired. They really do fall at his feet. We just haven't seen much of any growth there, especially in pass pro, which is something they've been good at over the last few years with the previous group.
Yeah, but then we get to see Arch and Michael Taff both on the questionable list. Michael Taff had the surgery on the broken thumb. The original, what the doctor said before the surgery, and the surgery went well, they were like, this should keep you out for the rest of the season. Then they said, well, the surgery's doing well, but we don't want to give you a timetable because we know you'll try and beat it. So we're not going to give you a timetable. The agreed upon what everybody believed was roughly the right patch for him was Georgia, which is Vanderbilt. You missed a Mississippi State game. You missed Vanderbilt. You have a bye week, and then there's Georgia. You'd probably be able to go then. Michael Taff is trying to defy all of that. Michael Taff, I said this yesterday, and it still stands true. If you ask Michael Taff in a big moment game, I don't know if Vandy's the game to do it, but at home, you say the A&M game, your thumb's not well enough to heal. He's like, can I cut it off? I will cut it off if I can play in this game. That's the kind of guy Taff is. So he wants to club it up and get in there just to try and be a part of it any way he can. How much of this is performative? How much of this for Michael Taff and for Arch is performative, and they're just putting him in the injury report to make Vanderbilt do a little bit more work to be prepared for someone who they know is not going to be there? Or how much of it is reality that if Arch Manning clears concussion protocol tonight, he can be ready tomorrow to do walkthrough. He's already walked through the game plan with them a few times. He's ready to go, and they're ready to play him. And if Taff is ready to go, I don't know if that's real or not. I think the bigger question is what Matt was bringing up yesterday on the show, especially for Arch Manning, but even for Michael Taff. If there's a chance that you could lose them for longer, so you could lose them for Georgia, you could lose them for A&M. You lose them basically for the rest of the season if you put them back out there and they take another bad hit. Now, the club, I don't know how much you could hurt it. Maybe someone steps on it, something like that would be the injury for you there. But for Arch, depending on where the concussion is in your research, and again, I said this yesterday, clearly they have doctors that are much smarter about this than I am. But is there a worry to you, Steven, that you putting Arch back out there, if he clears on a Thursday night, Friday morning, on Saturday at 11 a.m., sticking it back out there against a defense who wants to take his head off?
Yeah, I do have my concerns when it comes to, obviously if he has another concussion, that becomes very problematic, and the way you then handle that is definitely jeopardizes things down the stretch. However, if he's cleared and they go through this process, which they have to be meticulous about it. They have all these tests. I mean, it's 2025. I mean, they do this stuff now with much more caution than even 10 years ago, right? Then if he's ready to play and he clears protocol, I'm playing him personally. I mean, especially if he's been full practice the last couple days, has been reported, and it'd be different if he had been practicing and all of a sudden he got cleared, and then it's like, all right, let's throw him
but that's
in there.
also, we also don't know how much practice he's had, because again, this is Sark, which
they can say full practice, but
he goes, they were both participants in practice, and to them, to Sark, that means they ran out there and, Arch threw some balls on the sideline while we ran plays with Caldwell.
Sure.
And I'm just kind of saying that he's a part of practice, or it could mean he's literally out there with the red jersey, because it depends on what phase you're in where you're allowed to do different things. So we don't know what phase he's in right now to respond. But I think that's a question. And it is one of those things of, at the end of the day, I do trust Texas. Sark has always been overly cautious. Sark has not been a guy who seems like he's ever stuck a guy out. And I get, this is a big game. This is a big game, but it's not necessarily the same thing as a big game for Sark as it is a big game for Texas this season. Sark's job's not on the line here. Sark is not playing this game like, man, if we lose this, things are going to get real heated here, and I got to be careful. Like Brian Kelly, Billy Napier, those guys were not only the team trying to keep their season alive back against the wall, but your coaches maybe get fired back against the wall. And we saw Florida respond against us. LSU did not respond in any form or fashion for Brian Kelly, which not hugely surprising after we hear everything about Brian Kelly and people kicking dirt on his grave after he's fired. But I trust what Texas does in this. It's going to be extremely nerve-wracking all year long. In preseason, and me and you had talked about, Arch, you got to slide, you got to get down, you got to, don't take those hits. If you're going to be running, you got to be careful. We talked about that the whole time. And then you start to watch season, and then he starts to take some hits, and you're like, okay, all right. I start to get a little bit more confidence. It feels like we're going back to preseason. No one lay a hand on Arch Manning. Arch, get down. Don't let anybody touch you. But we know with this offensive line, you're going to get sacked once or twice. Like, that's almost an inevitability. The question is, when he took that bad hit, he was running forward. So if you're bringing Arch back out, how do you bring him out there, trust that he's going to be out there, and still be kind of the needed recklessness he needs to have, but trust him to not take those hits?
I mean, he's your second leading rusher. He's a part of your run game. He has 6 touchdowns on the ground. He opened the game. We finally had an opening drive touchdown this week or last week, and he got clipped on that play on the lower body where he was limping, right? So he was. I mean, you look at Arch. I was telling somebody during the game, if you looked at him when we got into overtime, his T-shirt under his jersey was ripped up. He was covered with grass stains. It looked like he had been in a heavyweight fight.
He's had his calf wrapped up now for a couple weeks.
His calf was wrapped up. Like the guy. And if I was a Mississippi State fan at that point, I'm like, is this the freaking Terminator? Because how many hits do we have to put on this guy for him? And he keeps coming, and he was coming until that secondary hit came in on the run play that ultimately, took him out, right? So one thing I do have comfort in, though, is twofold. Number one, Texas is doing it right. Play the game. And when I mean the game within the game, yeah, everybody's questionable. Yeah. We'll see what happens Saturday morning, how he feels, right?
Yeah.
Vanderbilt needs to prepare for 2 quarterbacks, period. They need to prepare for Matthew Caldwell. They need to prepare for Arch Manning. So continue to play the game if you're Texas all the way. People do it against us every time, especially 100%. OU. People do it against us all the time, so play the game. Number 2 is Sark has fortunately been in a position where he's had to play a backup quarterback every year he's been at this school. So this is nothing new. And at least you have somebody in Matthew Caldwell where you brought him here for this reason. He's a veteran player. He's played in big environments. He's played at Iowa. He's played in P4 environments where he's had to start and play big boy football. He had to come in the game last week and delivered in the little bit of play that he did, but he delivered and was confident. And so Sark handled with backups, whether it was Malik Murphy before, who was inexperienced, whether it was Hudson Card, whether it was Arch Manning a year ago, he's used to dealing with stuff like this. And his track record when we've had to play with backups has been quite good. So I feel comfort knowing we will be prepared one way or another for this matchup, Patrick. Honestly, I will tell you this, and I've been saying this on other platforms. To me, styles make fights. And this matchup coming up with Vanderbilt, I feel so much better about this matchup than I did about our matchup versus Mississippi State just a week ago. I've been telling people for weeks, the Mississippi State game terrified me because we did not match up well with what we do well and what we don't do well versus what they do well and what we don't do well. That was a bad matchup for Texas. We got lucky and we got out of it. But what Vanderbilt does well and what they don't do well and what we do well and what we don't do well, I like us versus Vanderbilt. And so now we're in a little bit of position where we can kind of play some games with the QB situation. If Matthew Caldwell's in there, I have confidence that we can execute the game plan and still be productive running this offense. But like you said, Arch is a big part of our run game. So that is something that, especially short yardage and at the goal line.
Yeah, it's curious to see. We had Will Matthews on the show yesterday, and we had a similar play that annoyed us in the game, which was on 3rd and 2, they threw the ball as opposed to giving it to CJ Baxter. And in this game, it feels like that's when you're like, okay, we have to use the running backs more. I know you want to be able to still roll out if Arch is playing or if Caldwell's playing because Zoline's not there. And Caldwell apparently has a little bit of legs on him too. He's not going to have the same athleticism as Arch, but maybe he can get to the outside. And if they're not expecting it, get a couple yards. But I think you do have to use CJ Baxter. Thanks to CB, greatest honorary producer in Austin sports radio history. So True. CB. Sean Miller did just pick up another recruit. I saw he was announcing today. I did not see that he went through, but Joe Sterling has just announced he will be committing to Texas. He is from Harvard Westlake in Studio City, California. A 4-star prospect, 6'4" combo guard. He is a guy who can space the floor. So just like Ogden, he is a floor spacer. He is somebody that you can go out there and try and get some 3-point shots. So clearly, Sean Miller is looking for some guys to hit some threes for him in this Texas offense. Something that Texas has been lacking for several years now is being able to hit those threes. It is, you want to be able to get some bigs, but you have to have spacing. And this adds another floor spacer with some good high basketball IQ, maybe a little undersized, isn't going to be able to probably drive a lot. I wouldn't expect him to play a lot early either, but him and Ogden, I think, are both guys that you look at and say in 2 to 3 years could be really important pieces to come down if they stay with Texas to come down and hit some big threes for you in these games. But another piece for Sean Miller for next season is trying to bring in shooting, trying to bring in some guys to hit some threes.
That's Sean Miller's recipe, right? If you look at Xavier and Arizona before and everywhere he's been, shooting is encouraged, it's emphasized. That's a must-have with his guards. It's a reason why some of the guys strategically that did come back for Texas are in a favorable spot because of the element and the emphasis on shooting and spacing the floor in Sean Miller's system.
Yeah. No, I think your high end for him is if he really becomes somebody who gets to be, a really tough, really one of those, if he gets to be one of those white guys with headbands, if he can get to that level of player, then you have to watch out because then he is going to be nailing threes for you, hitting big shots, playing the point for you. But he kind of is a combo guard. He's just a little undersized to be a combo guard, so he's probably going to play more points for Texas. But he will play that too if he's just there to shoot threes.
Look. You got to look no further than Austin Reeves of the Los Angeles, of the
White dudes with headbands, man.
Of the snow time Lakers, because right now white guys are having a moment in the league. It's gotten out of hand. It's gotten out of hand. 50. Well, we have 4 guys that have dropped 50 points in the NBA, and 2.5 of them are Caucasian. And so, because Aaron Gordon's a half-C. So, you look at Lauri Markkanen going 51, Austin AR-15, who looks like the next version of Pete Maravich out there. You got Jake LaRavia of the Lakers going for 27 points last night. This guy kind of looks like a Jake LaRavia.
I don't. We'll get into this later with the NBA. I don't know why they started calling fouls like they did. They started doing it again, where they're calling everything again. They changed that. So last season, everyone started getting 40, 50-point games. And they were like, hey, we have to stop this because it's ruining the history of our league. Because it's not fun to watch. And literally everyone just gets fouled every time they shoot now. So it's almost impossible to play defense, like really good defense against the elite scorers, which they kind of want, but not at the level that's happening. And so they started to, let him play a little bit more. And then they started this season and they start calling everything. I was watching the game with my dad and I'm like, dude, if you're going to get mad at every foul call, it's going to be a long day.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're calling everything right now. And it's not fun basketball to watch. You just get really high scores and guys putting up 50 points. But it's like SGA basketball for everybody right now. And it sucks. It's not fun. So hopefully they will start to tighten up those rules a little bit more. But that's beside the point. We just need to get some headbands for our white guys because that's the key factor to really turn those players.
Who was the last Caucasian Texas player with a headband? Dylan Osakowski? Like, who was it?
Yeah, maybe. I don't think Brock ever wore one.
Brock never wore a headband.
No.
I think it may have been Dylan O. Was the last one that was out there with that had a little bit of a clip. He didn't even shoot the ball that well, but he was trying to have some swagger with it.
Yeah, that may have been the last one with the headband. I'm trying to think of any off the top of my head, like a smaller guy that maybe came in. But again, we haven't had that dude for a while. So most of our white guys were bigs. We've not had small white guys in a while in Texas. So I don't know. I don't know if we've had anybody that did that. Yeah, I know Zakowski had the crazy hair, which is why he started wearing the headband at different points because he kept doing. I think he came out with braids at one point.
Mm-hmm. He did.
I think.
He did.
Which that's too far than the headband. You got to pull that one back. But you're probably right. That's a good pull. Steve. Get back to some Texas football real quick. Getting into Texas and Vanderbilt, Sark did speak to the media today and gave you a little bit more updates on some of the players and what you need to do. One of the questions Sark was asked was about, did he talk to the team about kind of, guys, I know we've been in a dogfight and away from home for, a month and a half, and it's been one thing after another. We lose to Ohio State week 1. Then there's art struggles and all this media. We've never really been able to kind of sit back down and go, we have 4 games left and we're still in the playoff hunt. We're still in the SEC title hunt. We're still alive in this. As bad as everything is gone, we're still completely alive in it. But we are playing 3 really good football teams out of the next 4 weeks. And then we got to go to Arkansas.
No, Arkansas comes here.
Sorry, we got to play Arkansas, who hates our guts.
But Arkansas can score, and they got a lot of explosive players. They got to deal with Taylor Green, absolutely.
So there's you got to deal with all of these different pieces. And if you talk to your team, like, guys, keep your eye on the prize because, I know everybody's trying to get up and play, figure out your own positions, but we're not that far away now. 4 games left. Let's go do it. Here's what Sark had to say the little bit of him mentioning to his team where they're at in the season.
No, I mean, I'm the one thing about me with our team, I'm not naive that they don't read and see and understand. And so I want to make sure that they can understand my perspective. So I had about a minute and a half discussion about what your point is. We've got 4 regular season games to go. And if we can handle our business, we have as good as opportunity as anybody to play in the SEC championship game and be part of the college football playoffs. But none of that is going to happen if we don't handle business this week. And so as long as that just went for you guys, for me to explain what it is, that's about how long I talked to the team. Then our focus went right back into this game. This is the most important game of the year, because without this game, those other 3 games, they lose the impact of what they could matter down the road. So we got to pour all of our energy and our efforts into this one for Saturday.
There is Sark speaking to the media. Yes, hair of the dog. They do have a bye week after this week. So it is 5 weeks left, 4 games, but yeah.
I like that clip by Sark. That clip by Sark because it's important. I think at times, especially during a long season, sometimes every now and again, you have to remind your players of the bigger goal. Like you want to get people isolated and focused. And I understand this, the Tom Herman go 1-0 every week, blah, blah, blah. Like,
yes.
You want them tunnel focused on Vanderbilt. But I do think it helps recharge batteries. I do think it helps reset focus, understanding that the bigger goal coming into this season was to win the SEC. And right now, that objective is more than possible. It is still on the table. And as a matter of fact, we are now in a playoff mode to get to that goal, to get back to Atlanta. So, yeah, I think it is totally okay to take a minute and say, guys, because I remember I broke the season into 4 quarters. This is the beginning of Q4 coming up, starting with Vanderbilt. We got 4 games left. 3 of them are at home, but 3 of these 4 are top 10 teams. And you know what? This is a great opportunity for Texas. This is a resume building opportunity for Texas. This is an opportunity for us to get to where we need to go. Everything is in front of us, not behind us. So I like that, just to reset things for the kids, for them to understand that, we are still playing for a championship. There is all of that in front of us, including playoffs, but we got to go get it. And then now we reset back to Vanderbilt. That was a great clip. That's good. To me, that's a good message by Sark.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of, you have to at certain points of the season, because it does feel, and like what he says at the beginning, he's like, I'm not ignorant that I will tell them, block out all the noise, block out everything else. But I think it's important because so much of the noise is Texas is going to lose. Texas sucks. Arch is the worst. Or the offensive line, like all there's negativity everywhere in it. And there isn't, guys, we are a 2-loss team. As much as we went to overtime with Kentucky, we went to Mississippi State and all that, we won. So at the end of the day, if we win out, and for people go, they need a quality win. We'll have 3 quality wins if we win the next 3 weeks.
You have 3 games versus 3 top 10 teams.
So you're like, we're golden. The playoff resume is there. Once you win those 3 weeks, you just can't lose. And look, that's extremely possible that Texas loses 1 or more of these games because they have not played well. But at the same factor, you do have to talk to your team. Go, guys, when I say go 1-0, it's because I'm not saying, well, let's start worrying about next season, because this isn't a building for next year kind of thing still. We're still working on right this season. So I like what he had a message there. Sark was also asked about preparing this week with 2 quarterbacks, because you don't know if Arch is going to be cleared. There's no way Sark can slow play that one. If they say Arch is not cleared to play on Saturday morning, Arch will not play football, even if Sark begs and screams. You can't be Brian Daboll and walk in the tent, try and go get your quarterback back. You can't do any of that. So you have Sark, preparing. And what does that do to the team? If they don't necessarily know, here's what Sark had to say for that.
We haven't changed anything that we've done. Our system's been our system. I know that as coaches and his teammates have the utmost, confidence and respect for Matt Caldwell. He performs really well. I know you guys have a very small sample size of what you see in game, but he gives us a ton of confidence in the way that he practices every day, the way that he works. Naturally, he's been thrown into the fire here a couple different times in SEC play and has performed very well. So the game plan is the game plan. And I think that they, all of his teammates have a ton of confidence in Matt if it's his time to go.
So there's Sark basically going, it's another day in the office. And it's one of the good things about Matthew Caldwell that from every report and everything you've seen from Sark and from the team, that he is kind of planted himself as this veteran backup, like the Joe Flacco of Texas, where he's not that guy. He doesn't necessarily, but he's really understood the assignment when he walked in to say, I get it. This is what I'm coming in for. This is what I'm here for, is to come in and be a leveling, calming presence. And so when they are practicing and they're going between two guys, and depending on how many the reps are changing, the game plan is going to be very, very similar. They haven't run a full quarterback run system where Arch would have to change more. And Caldwell does have good enough legs to, get outside of a pocket. He possesses some skills that that's one of the reasons they went and got him. So they could just kind of insert him in. We saw the difference in Baltimore going from Cooper Rush to Tyler Huntley, who Tyler Huntley can insert into their system and still make the offense work. I think that's what they want to do with Caldwell. Is we don't want to change anything because this team's not good enough to learn a new system overnight. So we better keep everything the same and then try and get Caldwell to be the one guy to make that work.
And I think for Texas's case, it's a good thing. I mean, some teams benefit off of having a backup that's very different from the starter. It just depends, right, on what type of team you have. I think in Texas's case, we need that continuity. Matthew Caldwell has the longest run of anybody on this football team in a game. I mean, he came in there pulled that rock and went for 50, right? So we know he has the wheels to at least threaten the defense, to at least keep that defensive end honest, and to scoot out the pocket when need be, and to protect himself. Now, protecting himself may mean he needs to throw the ball away, or they call a little bit more boot, or he protects himself with audibles, just like he audibled when he came into the game. That shows me that you're tracking the game as properly as a backup from the sideline, by the way.
Yes.
When you can come into a game cold, and when I say cold, throwing the football cold, but you've been tracking the game like you're the quarterback, to where you already know the defense and everything that is happening, and you know what the proper answer is pre-snap. I think Matthew Caldwell won't be sped up by whatever he sees pre-snap, especially being at home, right? And that's the other thing. I think, what's the number, 42 days or something like that since we've played?
It's been a while, because it hasn't been since non-conference.
Mm-hmm. So this is our first conference game. Our first Power 4 football game in DKR in the year of 2025 will be November 1st. Think about that, right? I mean, so there's a lot here. I mean, this stadium won't, and this is also going to be I think I read that they're also commemorating the 2005.
Yes. Yeah. By the way, if
team.
you didn't see that, Michael Griffin was on with Chip and Zay on their show. Make sure to go back and check out that. Really good stuff in that interview. But yeah, he was talking. Yeah, they brought him on. They're going to honor them in the first quarter of the 20th year of the reunion of those guys. It's all set up to try and make it work. The team just has to be able to get it done. One of the things Sark was also asked about was, now that you've, had to win a game against Kentucky and you've had to win a game against Mississippi State where you have to have this comeback, and where in Ohio State you were trying to come back and came up short, and in Florida you were trying to come back and came up short. Now, you're able to hold off Kentucky. You're able to come back and win against Mississippi State. Is that experience, the positive way of looking at things, the experience you have now of running 2-minute drills, of trying to catch up and trying to play that, is that going to be beneficial? That if Vanderbilt does get a lead, if Vanderbilt's there, do you have a little bit more experience in trying to stay alive in these games? Here's what Sark had to say.
Well, I think it's confidence building, especially, one, when you execute it at a high level and you get things done, and that builds confidence and belief in what you do. 2, there's valuable lessons learned when maybe you don't execute them the way you would have liked to have executed it. And so you've got to look at it from both ends of the spectrum. We do try to practice a lot of special situations and scenarios, and that has been something that I've learned in my time and as an assistant coach and have tried to evolve more into. And I think it's really benefited us. And we do a situational masters meeting every Friday morning. We'll start tomorrow morning with that meeting and go through different scenarios of examples from around the NFL or college football or whatever it might be. And then how we would play that scenario. So we try to put them in as many of those scenarios as we can. You can't predict all of them. And they only show up when they show up, But as long as we keep trying to raise the football IQ of our players and executing in those critical moments, you have a better chance. There's so many one-score games right now that ultimately, your performance at those critical moments, I think, is vitally important.
So there's Sark speaking to the media today, giving you a little bit of the positivity of all of the struggles. And the question I asked this of many people this week: can you learn from wins, or do you have to have the losses? Are you able to grow from those wins? And this is one of those points. Can you grow from, this is the moment where we're getting better at learning how to control these games in the fourth quarter and being able to get in the right position to win. Now, can we take what we're doing in those fourth quarters and start doing it before everyone in our fan base has to do 12 shots and pull their hair out and punch a hole in the wall? Can we do it before then? I think that's kind of where you want to be able to take this experience of, guys, you've seen yourselves do it now. You've seen yourselves pull out these victories. Could you make it a little bit easier on yourselves then?
Absolutely. And I'm just going to answer straight up. I mean, I definitely think you can learn from wins. I think even this fan base, we took a deep breath after that game.
Yeah.
People were not happy after Kentucky.
Oh no.
Nobody was happy after Kentucky. I mean, the Kentucky week almost felt like a loss the week after that. And going into
when you have moral victories, that felt like a moral loss.
That felt like a moral loss. It really did. Like, damn, like y'all went to Kroger Field and you won 16-13. Yuck. Like, and it was the way the game played out and everything that transpired. And then you see Mississippi State happen, right? And it's almost like an avalanche of like, we were down for so long by so much in the Mississippi State game where, Texas fans we're talking through, all right, who stays, who goes on the staff, and what's next year going to look like. People, we had moved off the season.
No, we were already looking. People were already trying to pick out the play caller they wanted because there's no way Sark. I mean, we saw we're not even a bowl team anymore.
We
may not win 6 games.
We all of these conversations are being had, right? Who do we need to go and try to look at in the portal and all this type of stuff? Yeah. And like Sark talked about in that clip about situations. Well, here's the situation. You're down 17, 10 minutes under. How quickly do you need to score to get yourself back in the game? And now Texas is running a simulation all of a sudden of a scenario. And they come out and it's like, wait a second, this team didn't quit. This team fought back. This team does have a lot of kids who have won a lot of football games. And that's something that I started to lean back on myself when reflecting, seeing Anthony Hill, seeing Colin Simmons, seeing Trey Watts, seeing Arch Manning. Arch Manning's from the 2023 class. Seeing Ryan Niblett. Ryan Niblett's from the 2023 class. All they know is winning. They don't know, they don't know the 5 and 7 days. They don't know because it started. There's a period in that game where it felt like Vietnam and Arkansas 2021. Yep. There's a period in that game where it started to felt like that.
Yep.
And then for them to snap out of it and start to make those plays and show that desperation, show that Texas fight. Now leaving the game, it's like, man, they do care. And you know what? These boys have been away from home longer than anybody else. They have not been home. They've been road warriors. They've been winning ugly. Guys have been going down. And it's like, you know what? Now they get to kind of take a deep breath. They get in does this actually kind of set up a little bit better for Texas now? Because you get to come home, you have one game, and then you get a bye. Then you really get to breathe. Then you really get to get people healed up before you have 2 weeks to prepare for the Georgia game.
Yep.
Right? All of a sudden, it's like, man, if we can just handle that one home game against a Vanderbilt team that we do match up better.
Match up very well with.
We match up better than we did in the Mississippi State situation.
100%.
I'm not guarding 4-2 Brennan Thompson anymore and 4-3 Anthony Evans on an island. No. With, when they were moving our boys. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not the case on Saturday. Now it's like, all right, if you go into this bye 7-2 and you got 2 weeks of prep for Georgia, you go give everything you got against Georgia. Now the narrative is different. The narrative is different, Patrick.
Oh, 100%. 100% you're dead on, because it is like, this is such an important game of changing the mood, where it did feel, you're 100% right. After the Mississippi State game, you went out and you were like, I shouldn't feel this happy about this. I should be miserable about this win. It shouldn't have gone to overtime. It shouldn't have been this close. And I get they match up well against us, all of that. You can put every excuse out there. There's no reason Texas should have been down what they were and had to have that comeback and then had to go to overtime. But how well they played in the last 4 minutes in overtime to not only score relatively easily against them, but then also completely shut them down on the other side of the ball. As great as that feels, you still have that little bit of worry. Can you go out there and beat a Vanderbilt team and then go, well, we actually beat somebody? We're not the bottom of the barrel just beating up that, we get bullied, and so that kid is bullied by someone else, and then that kid's bullied by someone. We don't want to be like the second to smallest Russian nesting doll. And so you have to win this week. So we're not in that conversation like, well, we're better than Kentucky and Mississippi State, because that's not where Texas wants to be. So it is a big piece on all that. Sark was also asked about what Michael Taft means to the team of being on the field and with him being questionable, possibly being back out there against, and what you could tell was missing against Mississippi State.
Yeah, I think one of the things is just there's a quiet confidence, and I don't know if necessarily quiet is the right word, but there's a confidence that Michael Taft provides when he's on the field. I don't know that schematically we could have or would have played any better. It wasn't like we were blowing coverages and things. I think they maybe got us on one. But I do think there's a sense of confidence that he can provide to the guys around him. But I do think it was a great opportunity for Jelani McDonald, Derek Williams, Xavier Filsamy to grow in their role. I thought it was great for Anthony Hill to step up even more, and sometimes, certain games require more of you. And that one required more of Anthony Hill. And just like certain games have required more of Colin or Ethan Burke last week, so on and so forth. And so, when you have moments like that, yeah, you miss those great players, but it also provides great opportunities for others and that we can grow from. Both Arch and Michael practiced again today. I don't have anything beyond for Arch, just because we have to follow the protocol of the days and the reps, but Arch is making good progress as well as Michael.
There's Sark speaking about what it means to have Michael Taft on the field and what it helps. I do like he goes, quiet confidence, and then immediately realizes how loud Michael Taft is and goes, all right, maybe not quite, but it does give you that comfort, the comfort that this offense has not had all season long, where there's no, like, your running backs are trying to bring it to you, but they haven't had the game. In Oklahoma, we had the comfort because Trey Wisner ran well, and Trey Wisner was your comfort. But the defense, having Michael Taft in the back, making sure when Michael Taft's not yelling at you, you feel like you're doing something right. And when he's not back there, maybe you're a little bit more worried, especially when, they run a big play on you, or Brennan Thompson gets free on you on the play before. So I do believe there is something to be said of him being out there, even if he's not 100%. He's not a big interception guy. We know he can't pick up a fumble. That is the biggest fault of Michael Taft, possibly, that he can't pick up a fumble. And he's not a wrap-up, grab a guy. He's a guy, take your head off, hit you with the shoulder guy anyway. So it feels like he could play with the club on. Doesn't feel like that would be necessarily the worst thing in the world if he does bring you this other factor of making sure everybody on the field feels better, and you bring that confidence back to a defense that did get rattled a little last week.
Yeah, I'm gonna get to Taft in a second. I do think, though, for the offense, it was huge for them to have the performance that they had, to Colin Simmons' point, the week before.
Yes.
Right? Because it required all three units to win that game. And I think it's a good thing that it happened the way that it did, because there were times where the offense had to bail out the defense and the special teams and vice versa. Right. And so just it being a true team win in that sense. And then you throw in Ryan Niblett in the special teams unit, chef's kiss, right? Now, all of a sudden, everybody is contributing to the solution. So at least they come into this week where it's like the offense can come in and say, yo, between the fourth quarter and overtime, we scored 31 points, bro. Like we all of a sudden we might have some things going here. And that was with Arch and Matthew Caldwell participating. So there should be better vibes in that sense. Now to Taft, I do think if he is able to play, now I'm thinking about it schematically, because in the Mississippi State game, I do agree with Sark. I don't think they would have changed anything if he was there or not. I think Phil Simi and all of them would have still been, Taft would have still been there. We still would have had some of the same challenges. Maybe we're a little bit tighter. Maybe we play with a little bit more confidence pre-snap. But he was very vocal, according to several players, like Alex January and several other guys were talking about, yo, on the sideline, he was like a coach. Like he's screaming out calls and tendencies and all of these things. So, but against Vanderbilt will be interesting, because last year, Vanderbilt is a scheme game too, because they run this triple option. And we got to play, and we have the personnel to get funky with it. So last year we played Jelani McDonald a lot at the line of scrimmage at nickel to match up with Pavia and some of these tight ends. What if we did that again, right? Like what if Jelani McDonald spins down again and Taft is more like a deep safety, where he's not necessarily the first person in the run fit, but you also feel confident that he's going to be back there for any seam routes that happen to the tight ends or anything like that. That's how I'm picturing if he's able to play in this game, because I just like the way, like last year's Vanderbilt game was kind of Jelani McDonald's breakout game for Texas fans. That's when that's when he really, really stood out and became a big name, because he played so well against this scheme. I don't know how PK doesn't try to just replicate what he did, because Vanderbilt's going to run their stuff, right? And so I just think that Taft being, even if he's just a deep help guy and he's not necessarily the normal run fit like he is, I still think that that's a positive for Texas.
Yeah, and Michael Taft was third in tackles as well last season in that game with 6 tackles, had a pass deflection in the game. So still did make an impact. We'll see what he can do there. Last clip we'll play today is about the question of kind of the world, and it's a weird piece of defending Diego Pavia. Diego Pavia is not an elite quarterback at quarterbacking. He's an elite quarterback at making his team believe, doing the right thing over and over and over again, consistency, all these other things, that he wins football games. He helps his teammates be better. He does the right thing so many times. So he's a different kind of defend your guy, because he doesn't necessarily roll out and watch out, this guy's going to take a shot over the top of you. Or, if you let him get free, he'll run for 35 yards. He's going to run for 8. Then he's going to hand off for 4. Then he's going to make another good read and pass the ball for 3. And they're just going to keep moving. Just first down, first down, first down, first down, first down. And you're like, oh no, our defense is getting stuck out there. Defense has been playing too much as it is. So Sark was asked kind of, how do you plan to defend Diego Pavia, who has just over and over again shown he is the most elite test in college football?
Yeah, I mean, it's a challenge both ways, because I think one thing is, because of the multiplicity of personnel groupings and formations and run schemes, you got to make sure your gap integrity is sound in all the looks that they can give you. And so there's times when sometimes zone coverages are a little easier to adjust things out. Sometimes man is a little easier to adjust out. But always on the back burner is, how are you going to account for the quarterback? And how are you going to account for the quarterback in the designed quarterback runs to make sure you have enough hats to fit the designed quarterback runs? You always have to account for, do you have enough people to defend the triple option, which is a factor? And then you have to make sure that if they do throw the ball, that you have the ability to defend the ad lib plays, and when he starts to scramble and move out of the pocket, and it's not always to run. One of his bigger plays last week was on a broken play, throwing it back to the running back for a critical first down. So, really disciplined eye control, really disciplined in our zone drops, really disciplined in man of our rush lanes integrity of trying to cage that pocket. I mean, all those things are going to play a part, as it points to it, So I just don't think we can be one dimensional. They're too well coached. They got too good of a scheme. We're going to have to continue to mix our looks and try to make things, difficult on them and try to create some negative plays.
There is Sark speaking about what you got to do against Diego Pavia, and it is, you just have to be prepared for everything. You have to be prepared for him to break the outside and then still throw a pass. You have to be prepared for him to break the outside and then take off. You have to be prepared for him to run a delayed run. You have to be prepared for him to run a straight run. They run the closest thing to a triple option there is in football today. That's what he tries to do, and he's really good at picking which play works. If you look at Texas last season, where Vanderbilt put up 24 points against Texas, I know a little bit that was late in the game, but it was still 24-27. Diego Pavia, the longest play they had was 21 yards. Diego Pavia's longest play was 18 yards on the ground, but a 21-yard pass was their longest play of the game. Not hugely explosive plays, not big plays downfield. He was 16-29 for 143 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions, and he ran for another touchdown. He was just good enough when they need him to be good enough, and he's better now, and the team is better now. So if he goes for 175, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and runs for a touchdown, maybe that's enough to beat Texas this season. That's what I'm saying. He doesn't have to be statistically great to just keep making the right decisions, not give you the ball back, not let your offense ever get any type of rhythm, and they just march down the field. And once he gets in the red zone, they're really good at scoring in the red zone because now you cannot account for everything that's there.
Yeah, this is, to me, also a get-back game for last year because that game, Texas was ready to blow out Vanderbilt last year. Let's be honest. Like that 18-yard run was early in the game, and it was, I believe, on a third down, and Jalen Gilbo got broken down in the open field, and Pavia scored when he gave up outside contain. And that was like very, very, I think it was the first time Vanderbilt had the ball was when he had that run to break contain. And then the other big play happened later in the game. But throughout the game, Texas was what, 3 of 12. The defense was 3 for 12 on third down, which is great against Vanderbilt that particular day. They were forcing turnovers. And what makes me comfortable in this game, Patrick, is a lot of our guys that are our key defenders on this year's defense were all involved in that game last year against this team. This is not like they have never seen triple option. They've never seen Pavia before. Yeah. Jalen Gilbo was a key character in there. Jelani McDonald was a key character. Trey Moore, this is last year's game was the game that got Trey Moore kind of going. And then Trey Moore ended up finishing the year with a lot of momentum. If you look at the film, that was the game where Trey Moore started having because he matches up well with a lot of the stuff they were trying to do laterally. Colin Simmons played a lot in this game. Anthony Hill played a lot in this game. Leon Alefau played a lot in this game. Michael Taff, you mentioned, was third in tackles. So Manny Muhammad was in that. Like all of our key defenders were central characters in Nashville. And a game, Kobe Black, remember Kobe Black had the pick 6, and Vernon Broughton gets called for the latest hands to the face, or else at that point we're up 17 with 58 seconds left.
Yeah.
Then it turns into we're now only up 3 and they're kicking on sides. That is the margin that got ballooned the other way last year. So now playing them again, we're all a year older, a year wiser. Vanderbilt's coming in here now with top 10 accolades. They've been playing great. But the numbers are similar. Like you said, Pavia threw for 149, right? Against Missouri, he was around 150. Yeah. Against Bama, he was around 190. He's not throwing for over 200 yards. They're not throwing the ball deep downfield. They're getting big. Where they're getting their big plays is actually when people get undisciplined they spend too much time on Pavia, and then one of the backs goes off on that pitch. That's what I'm worried about, because they have this young kid who's averaging like 12 yards a carry, and the other one's averaging 6 yards a carry, and it's off of these pitches where they can go 80 yards, right? So it's kind of like when you play Army or Navy, you're like fullback dive, they kind of lull you to sleep. And then all of a sudden he pulls it and he pitch it, and that guy on that's supposed to be outside gets sucked in one time. They got people that can run, that can take it the whole way, or they pull it out and throw it to the tight ends. So we have to have that discipline, but they know that. They've played against this scheme, and they did a good job for about 90% of that game last year. But where Vanderbilt is elite is situational football. Third downs, 2-minute drill, end of the game, start of the game. Every situational metric Vanderbilt grades out in the top 10, if you look at the advanced metrics. So that's where Texas struggles. And that's where they almost beat us last year. Because in the meat of the game, we dominated on both sides. We had no problem moving the ball. But then all of a sudden we do something dumb and we get what? How many holding calls did we get in last year's game? You remember how many runs we would crank off?
Yeah. I mean,
it was crazy.
It wasn't as bad as them because we only had 4 penalties. Or sorry, we had 10 penalties for 107. They did not have the penalties last year. But yeah, we had 107 yards in penalties.
107 yards. Literally, Weisner would break off like a 30-yard run and we get called back. Next play. And then all of a sudden, Quinn Ewers is dealing with 2nd and 20. You know, like, because I think we had 24 points by the second quarter last year. Like, we did our work early, and then in the second half, whenever we tried to run the ball, we got called for a holding penalty. And so all of our offensive drives, that's why the game ended up the way it did. All of the drives were 2nd and 20, 2nd and 15. And so it's like drive killers, right? And so it's like, man, if we can clean that stuff up, that's what I'm saying. This is a good matchup for Texas and a good opportunity to show, you know what, last year's game in Nashville, y'all, that was when you should have got us. That has to be the energy. I'm serious.
I love it. I love it. I do think the only other one that I'm worried about is I'm worried about Cedric Alexander, who Texas really didn't allow to do much last year. But Cedric Alexander,
and he fumbled last year too.
He did not do much fumbled, but he is a kid from LBJ, and I feel like Diego Pavi's the type of guy to be like, you know what? Let me try and get you one. Let me try and get you where I get outside and I distract them all, and then I just throw you the ball, and I'll have 9 guys chasing me, and you got to beat 2 for a touchdown. That's the one where it's like you got to keep your eyes, because now Sark clearly knows because he was talking about like that's one of those plays they had last week. Where they got the ball back to him. But Cedric Alexander, you always worry about when those kids come back to Austin who Texas didn't recruit hard. They get upset and they come back to Austin. You're like, oh, I mean, we saw it last week. There was 3 guys who played for Texas, and all of them made big plays in that game.
All of them.
So there's something to be said about it. So it'll be curious to see. But I'm with you. With Diego Pavia, it's fundamentals. It's staying within yourself, not getting overzealous in it, and you can slow him down to the point where that offense will not work. Again, the third down stat you brought up is 100% right. They were 3 for 12 from third downs last year. That's not Vandy football. Again, they're a better team than they were last year, but our defense is roughly the same as it was last year. Our defense isn't that much different. Our offense is way different. They may have, but the defense is still there. So they're a better team on the offensive side of the ball. But that, if you can slow them down and put them in third downs and put them in third and longs, then this can be a game that Texas can handle and put you in a position where your offense doesn't have to give you 35 points to win the game.
This may be fan talk right here, but I'm going to say it anyway. I don't think PK going to have 2 bad games in a row. Because the other thing is this. I did not – Jeff Lebby, for whatever reason, knows how to – he has some beaters for PK. It just is what it is. I knew that going in. I knew that in 2023 when OU played Texas. Even the game last year when, even though Mississippi State didn't score a whole bunch of points, Mississippi State was moving the ball between the 20s. Jeff Lebby just has something for PK's defense. PK's defense last year, PK was very prepared for this triple option last year when we went to Nashville. Yeah. It was penalties and situational nonsense that made the game what it was. Coming off of last week where his defense allowed 24 points in the first half, oh, he has their attention.
Yeah.
This is a get right week for the defense, because that's not the standard. We talk about how good Vanderbilt's been defensively all year. They're outstanding. How good Vanderbilt has been. Vanderbilt's one of the top 5 to 10 teams in all of the situational metrics offensively, no doubt about it. But Texas defense is only allowing 14 points a game. Texas defense does still fit, even with the Mississippi State balloon numbers. We're still grading out elite in all the defensive metrics. So I look at this game as a much more favorable matchup. And this is the game where he was playing around with Trey Moore and playing around with, I can see him playing around with Ty Anthony Smith and saying, hey, go spy Pavia. You have the lateral, just like y'all did with John Mateer. The same type of thing where it's like, hey, I'm going to funnel John Mateer this way, and I'm going to make it hell for him because he wants to create and he wants to go off script. Try to go off script against Anthony Hill, Ty Anthony Smith, and Trey Moore and all these athletes.
Yes.
And try to go lateral. Good luck. And it ruined John Mateer's confidence. There's some similarities there with what Pavia wants to do
100%.
Off script.
No, I'm with you 100%. And that is, Texas had a really good game plan against Oklahoma. Vanderbilt has a much better offensive line than Oklahoma does, but they also probably don't have the speedsters that you're going to have on the outside. So you can kind of bring it in a little bit. You're not necessarily so worried about getting beaten over the top by Pavia in this Vanderbilt offense. So there's a lot you can do in there. We're going to take our first break. When we come back, we'll get to our SEC rankings. We've still got Bama Bruce to come on, as he comes on every Thursday and give us some picks for this weekend in the SEC. We will continue on. We'll see if we get into some NFL football. We'll see if we get into some NBA time. My man Steven from Fanatic Perspective on the show. We'll be back in about 2.5 minutes with more from Open Gym on Texas Sports Unfiltered.
At Sleep Cycle Center, we can treat your sleep apnea in various ways. My story starts 15 years ago with the loss of my father to undiagnosed, untreated sleep apnea. And this is a very preventable disease, and treatment options are various. Millions of people across America have sleep apnea, and they fail to realize the early warning signs. Fatigue, daytime sleepiness, and snoring are the most common signs. We'll find the best solution using advanced technology, oral and epigenetic appliances, or CPAP. We offer weight loss, oral surgery, and laser treatments. Schedule your appointment today and get your sleep evaluation.
If you're looking to remodel a kitchen, renovate your bathroom, or maybe add some new life to your outdoor space, reach out to our friends at McCall Custom Homes. They are custom home builders and renovators here in Central Texas, and they've been doing it in Central Texas for more than 40 years. It's a father-son team with a ton of experience, and all of that experience is here in the Austin area. So they know what it takes to turn an Austin area home into something truly, truly special. Right now, our friends at McCall Custom Homes are offering free estimates to TSU listeners so they can come out to your place, hear your vision, they can tell you what they can do, and then you can go from there. Don't just take my word for it. Check out their website, McCallCustomHomesATX.com. Look at the gallery of jobs they've done over the last 4 decades. And then when you're ready, again, reach out to them and they will come to you. McCallCustomHomesATX.com, or you can call or text Mike McCall directly at 512-633-9580. It's McCall Custom Homes. We build value into your home.
Field goal, end zone, interception.
What's up, kid?
Just trying to write a new commercial for audiovisual consultations. You know, football season is about to start.
Okay, so what have you got so far?
Roses are red, violets are blue. Football is awesome. Our installations are too.
Yeah, I don't think you're getting what I want.
Okay, how about my football lies over the ocean? My
boy.
Yeah, I guess I just don't really understand this sport. Like, think about hockey, a sport played by real men. Fights, no TV timeouts, and no flopping.
Yeah, that's why Audiovisual installs systems so that every customer feels like they're right there on the field.
People's love for football might be hard to understand, but ABC can tackle any residential or home improvement to get you ready for the big game.
Now you're getting it.
Ready for the halftime show?
What?
Hug your kids, laugh with strangers, and make love to whoever the hell you want.
Just call us at 255-8678. That's 512-255-8678.
Back here on Open Gym on Texas Sports Unfiltered. Myself, Patrick Davis, alongside my man, Steven from Fanatic Perspective on the show today. And, of course, you, the third member of Open Gym. Text line's open, 512-222-9328. Or, of course, over there on the chat on Facebook, Twitch, X, or on YouTube. lot coming up here in hour 2 of the show. We're going to get to our SEC rankings. My man Bama Bruce going to join the show to talk some SEC football as well. See if we get into some other good talk here in the hour 2. Also worth noting, Steven, that Texas did get a recruit this today in basketball. Basketball is what, 5 days away now? 5 days away. We play Duke on the 4th of November. So we are getting November 4th, the Tuesday of next week. Is a big game for Texas to see what they do. But the 2026 recruit, Joe Sterling chose Texas over USC, New Mexico, St. Bonaventure, and more. He is a sharpshooter, 6'3", 6'4", combo guard. But once again, another shooter added to this roster for Sean Miller, trying to put it together. Man Chan on the text line says Clark Lee may change it up. They may change up a few things, but Vanderbilt does what Vanderbilt does. Like, they are very much
don't have the personnel to change up.
Yeah, so they just do certain things. They're very similar. So they'll have different, they'll set up different formations sometimes, and they'll, motion things different. It won't be the same, but what they do is what they do. Because Diego Pavia doesn't have an arm to chunk the ball downfield. So he's not going to take the top off of a lot of defense. They don't have the wide receivers with the speed to necessarily take the top off of a defense. So there's a lot of little things in there where they just aren't built to do other things, but they're built to do what they do very, very well. Clark Lee's done a really good job putting that roster together.
They'll have misdirection, big play type stuff built in, and some I expect them to have some trick plays that are within the foundation of their offense, right? So, like Eli Stowers, former quarterback, you could see something where they flick the ball out to him and he throws it or something like that, or a reverse that, is in the realm of, the reverse pivot of the triple option, and the reverse guy becomes a pitch man and maybe throws the ball. Stuff like that. I expect them to have some of those wrinkles. I also expect them to challenge us on 3rd and 2s, 4th and 2s. What's the one area of the field that you feel the most confident with Texas defense? It's on a 4th and 1 or 4th and 2 when somebody tries to go up the middle. That's where everybody feels good, right? And so that's going to be something to where, what does Vanderbilt do? Because that's also where they challenge a lot of people, with Pavia running it himself as like a lead draw or something like that. So one of those elements is going to have to give. That's where I expect them to really challenge the Texas defense.
I'll also throw this out there. Don't, fake punts, very possible in this game, depending on how it goes, especially with Niblett now, where look, we don't really want to kick it to Ryan Niblett anyway. So if it's like 4th and 5, maybe we'll just throw a little fake punt depending on where we are on the field and, not be that scared of their offense.
What's interesting? This is one thing everybody tries to shoot for, but I think Bama was able to do this well. And because Bama was able to win comfortably and covered that minus 11.5 when they played Vanderbilt at home, in the second quarter, Alabama was able to get separation because throwing the football. Yeah. One thing where Vanderbilt does struggle because of the lack of back-end athletes is against really good receivers.
Yes.
And so the Emmett Mosleys, the Ryan Wingos, when you look at last week, even against a good second, Kelly Jones is a good corner. Yeah. And Manning is a good safety at Mississippi State. There were a couple plays where we threw bubble and Ryan Wingo went for 60 yards.
Yes.
Right? Because he's a different type of athlete than they have, right? That's where you can really get Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt's really good against the run.
Yes.
We're going to have some issues going against the run. And last year, even though we were moving them, we were getting called for holding every single time. So I don't know how I feel about us running the football in this game, but I do think we can have some chunk plays in the passing game. It hurt Mizzou last week because they lost their quarterback in that game, Bo Pribola. But whether it's Arch or Matthew Caldwell, that's where Texas can get a lot of margin on Vanderbilt is in the passing game.
Well, and that's the thing is you can even run your running game out of the passing game, and that may be what you have to do sometimes, especially with Trey Wisner. He's been really good in the flats. So I think that if you really want to get Trey Wisner more involved, even if you're not throwing it, sometimes you just got to get him out in the flats and let him use his athleticism to try and go break some of these tackles. But I'm with you 100%. Their secondary is the weakest part of this defense right now. The issue is they have a really good D-line. They've been able to get some pressure, and that slows you down from trying to throw the ball over the field. Alabama was just able to handle that. Texas is not going to be able to have the time to get deep passes, but if you can just get them the ball. Just get them the ball and see if they can break one tackle and go, because that's what Ryan Wingo did last week, and he did it really, really well. And you don't win the game if Ryan Wingo don't just do what, those types of athletes can do. Let's get into our SEC power rankings. We do this every week on Thursdays here on the show. Here is what we had at the end of last week, Steven. This is what our power rankings look at. I don't know how much they moved this week. Our NFL we did last week, they didn't move a ton. We see in our tier 1, A&M, of course, had no problem with LSU 49-25. Alabama had some issues with South Carolina, but were able to get it done and score there in the fourth quarter to win 29-22. Georgia was off last week. They did not play. Ole Miss took care of Oklahoma in there. Vanderbilt wins against Missouri. Texas wins against, and we all know, a comeback game against Mississippi State. Missouri does take a loss here at 15, but it was to a good Vanderbilt team. Tennessee gets a win over Kentucky. Oklahoma, of course, is off as well. Or Oklahoma takes the loss to Ole Miss in that game last week. So they're there. And then we also have LSU in that one. I think this is the week LSU, even though it's a bye, even though they're on a bye this week, they lose to Texas A&M 49-25. This may be the big move of this week in our power rankings. May just be sliding LSU down to tier 3. Fire your coach, you get moved out of tier 2. You're not competing further. So if we don't know, Steven, basically our tiers are tier 1 is legit contenders. Legit, these are playoff teams. These are guys that should be playing at a really high level. Tier 2 is guys who could still win the SEC, could be playoff teams. That's tier 2. Tier 3 is you're just not as bad as tier 4. Your teams that have talent on them, but they're not quite there. And then tier 4 is season is over. It's done. Mail it in. You guys are not good.
Yeah, so I would I like tier 1, I think is self-explanatory, right? I mean, I think that's in the proper order. Texas A&M is the third best team in the country right now. They're the only true undefeated in the SEC. Bama, Georgia, Ole Miss, Vanderbilt all have one loss, but Alabama, Georgia, Ole Miss, those losses, their one loss are really to like each other, right? And in that mix. So and Bama's also undefeated in the SEC. So tier 1 is self-explanatory. I would probably flip Tennessee and Mizzou, maybe. Only because of Bo's dislocated ankle with the quarterback position. Sense. Yeah, like Tennessee, Joey Aguilar's healthy, and they're getting ready to play OU, so that we'll get some clarity between 7 and 9, right, this week coming up between Tennessee, OU.
Yeah,
LSU definitely falls out of tier 2 with the firing of Brian Kelly and just them getting belt to ass by Texas A&M at Death Valley. Absolutely embarrassing. Who else here? I mean, who won Auburn, Arkansas last week? Who?
Auburn ended up winning at 33-24 with 17 points in the fourth quarter.
Gotcha. So yeah, the rest of that makes sense.
It makes sense. If Auburn lost Arkansas, they dropped down to tier 4.
Gotcha.
Mississippi State has played well enough, but they don't have an SEC win. They're 0-4 again, so they may drop to tier 4 soon enough, as it feels like some of these teams are starting to head the wrong direction and being out of contention. But I think right now, I'm with you. I think flipping Missouri and Tennessee right now feels about right. Oklahoma's not playing that well. They're on the edge of at 2-2 in the SEC with a really tough rest of their schedule. Like, this is a question we asked the other day. Does Oklahoma lose out? And I don't think they do, but the rest of their schedule, Steven, Tennessee, Alabama, Missouri, LSU.
So I was told by OU fans that Missouri was an automatic win because of last season. So I'm going to hold them to that. Now,
it's an automatic win.
They literally said we have 4 guaranteed wins coming in this season. Missouri's one of the guaranteed wins. I know that it sounds ridiculous now.
Well,
but
if you want to say Missouri's a guaranteed win because they just lost their quarterback, I'm much more on board with that than I remember last season.
Right. So, LSU, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt for the LSU game, and I don't know. The Missouri game is 50-50 to me. Tennessee, I think they're going to lose at Knoxville. I think they're going to lose because Tennessee and Ole Miss offensively are very similar with the bear and shoot of what they run. Now, Joey Aguilar is not as elusive as Trinidad Chambliss was, but I think what you saw in Norman, the fact that Ole Miss was able to run their offense with no issues in Norman, Oklahoma was a big problem. And I think Tennessee will be more comfortable running their offense at home, even though Joey Aguilar doesn't move around. He's not shifty like Chambliss is. I also think OU has real problems offensively. They finally broke a big run with their running backs, and then they refused to give the ball to the running backs. Now, all of a sudden, their Lord and Savior, John Mateer, is a problem, and you have half of them asking for Michael Hawkins to play at this point because he's not seeing the field well. John Mateer, that is. He's not, and it's been an issue. Tennessee has a very good pass rush. That's going to be a problem. I don't know how OU is going to generate enough offense to keep up in this game. Bama's a L. I'm going to go ahead and write. Bama's a L.
Just an L.
So, yeah, I mean, really, to me, the only the 2 wins are potentially Mizzou. I'll give them LSU because LSU at this point looks like they've completely laid down. So, what say you?
I mean, the LSU one's going to be interesting. We haven't seen they lay down. They could be rejuvenated without Brian Kelly.
True. We haven't seen them play without Brian Kelly.
And so are they rejuvenated or, I mean, by the way, that job, and Chip talked about this a little bit ago, and I'm 100% on board with him. That job went from the best job available to maybe 3rd or 4th because of the governor. Because the governor
so present. Why is he so
because he's one of these guys now who he's the governor and he knows how everything works. And so I like the fact that he was basically like, it's a conspiracy that they're hiring their own friends to come in and do this in CAA. And we're like, well, then why has every other school figured it out but you? So everybody else figured it out. Maybe you just hired the wrong AD, that he made some bad hires.
He's going to turn off some coaches for sure.
Well, yeah, but that's the thing is there's no president. We've just been told the AD has no power. Yeah. The AD's just been neutered.
So why don't you fire Scott Woodward now? If he's not allowed to make the hire, fire him
hire
now.
Somebody else.
Right.
And then tell me that guy, because if I if I'm talking about being in sports and I want to work in sports and I like that, and then a politician's going to walk in and go, I decide whether or not. And if you lose at my school, the whole contract is BS. I'm going to sue you and waste so much money to try and sue you to not have to pay that money. You're like, why would I ever go there? Why would I ever want to go there? Because it just seems like there's no possible way this turns out well for anybody. So I mean,
know how they turn that governor off, dude, because it's nasty work what he's doing on the microphone right now.
100%. It is. It's not good, and he is going to cause some people. He's just lowering the value of that job so much.
Where are my keep politics out of sports people at? Huh?
I know.
Speak up.
Keep politics out of sports. Like, yeah, dude. Yeah, that dude was because I was like, look, by the way, I also would not let Scott Woodward hire my next coach. I'm with you on that.
He's valid there, but fire him.
But
why
I wouldn't have walked out. I wouldn't have walked out and held a press conference and gone, there's no way he's hiring the next guy. And to go, well, then why is he still there? Like, this seems like one of his big responsibilities. This seems important.
That tells me then we are not in the market for a head coach right now. We're in the market for an athletic director. That's how people do things with structure, right? If I'm not going to hire this other guy and then go and fire Scott Woodward and give the other guy a new boss that guy didn't bring in. You see what I'm saying? Like, let's there's nothing wrong if you want to clean house. That's your prerogative. Just do it the right way, structurally.
Yes.
But this whole thing of mixing the politics in there and talking trash, and you're talking trash against somebody that's still currently an employee of your school, of your program.
And also it's the well, I don't know how we're gonna do it, but that guy won't be doing it. Like, okay, not confidence inspiring, because you haven't even told me who's on this director, and is it just your buddies? Is it a bunch of dudes? Because I've spoken to a lot of people. I've spoken to a lot of very bright, very smart people who know politics and from different sides and other things, and all of those people, right? And they are completely ignorant to sports because they don't do it all the time. They don't live in that world. And like, if you don't live around that world where, I can do the show with Steven because Steven has his own channel, Fanatic Perspective. So he watches a lot of stuff just alone, but then he has to talk about it. He talks about it with other people, and it becomes something that you just get much more knowledgeable about it. Versus, I like sports, and if they're on, I watch them. But I also I watch, probably 2 games a week. Well, then you probably shouldn't be deciding any of this.
Mm-mm.
Have you ever watched film on LSU? Then you should have no say in this. You should get people who've watched the film and if can go through and pick. I agree, Scott Woodward not the guy to hire the next coach because he has done 2 bad jobs hiring guys that are not necessarily the most beloved guys in the world. But the same part, he just lowered the value of that job immensely, and it is crazy how much he lowered the value of that job. Shout out my man Wags texting me. Text talking about the offensive line for Vanderbilt, which is an interesting thing. Interesting point though. What was fun was on Chip and Zay today. Drew Fabianich, the executive director for the Senior Bowl, was on and talked about why they do that, and it makes sense. Which is basically the offensive line aligns to the tight end. They don't align, so your right guard and left guard and your right tackle and left tackle will switch spots based on where the tight end is. But the reason you do that is it's strong side, weak side. You don't change how you protect things. You don't have to learn 2 ways to do it. You always do the same thing. So you're either always strong side or always weak side.
Interesting.
And I was like, oh, that makes sense now that you say it. It just simplifies things. But it's also a little bit more complicated because you have to learn how to do that.
Right. The footwork is going to be interesting there of how that's taught. And yeah, that's interesting.
So yeah, I was like, that's an interesting piece of well, instead of teaching your guys how to be both sides of the ball, you just always just flip them around and go, it's fine either way. And it throws some other teams off. If everybody did it, it wouldn't work as well. But if you're one of the only teams that does it, it seems to work a lot better. And DX says Jeff Traylor would be amazing there, but they're gonna want a big hire. Jeff Traylor, he's gonna be good where he goes, but he slipped off too much. He's like, if you're gonna hire Matt Campbell, you're gonna hire Matt Campbell before you hire Jeff Traylor at this point too, as somebody who's like a fallen off of where he was a top level coach and now he's not.
Also, LSU is a very interesting job, and I think we've learned via Brian Kelly, it's also a regional type job. So one like I've thrown this out there to my LSU buddies, and they've all eaten it all up. But a non-sexy name that would be qualified would be somebody like Willie Fritz of Houston.
Yeah.
Right. Who came from Tulane, built up Tulane to be really, really good. Went over to Houston. Willie Fritz is older guy, but right now older guys are in. Look at Kurt Cignetti. He's very similar to Kurt Cignetti. And that's somebody that has recruited the Bayou, and not just recruited the Bayou, but has gone to inner city New Orleans to build out his Tulane team. Found guys like Tajay Spears who've gone to the league. And now is recruiting inner city Houston, right? Which is a key component to LSU's pipeline. So you need people like that. Some people are saying, you know what? Just go after the current Tulane coach, John Summerall. There are people that are high on him. Tulane is 6-1 right now. So it's the regional stuff, because before they were like, oh, we'll never hire Billy Napier when he was at Lafayette because they were above them. But now I think they would be more open to a true regional person.
But that's the thing too, and this is where the governor can't take away a guy from Tulane to give to LSU. You're gonna lose voters. You lose voters because now you're screwing over your school, man. You're screwing over one of your schools to help the big boy, and now it's not going to do well with your constituents. So that's an interesting piece. I like the Willie Fritz one though, because Houston and Louisiana are close enough in that realm where you're still kind of recruiting the same pipeline of players out of both of those schools. So I think that one, and I've been high on Willie Fritz this season. All he's done is just continue to be a really good coach. 7-1, just be a really good coach.
Big 12, coming off a huge win versus Arizona State.
Off a Houston team that was just not figuring out how to win games last couple of years. So I think Willie Fritz has done amazing stuff on all of that. So I'm with you. I think that's an interesting, but it's like, it depends on who's hiring too. Because is it somebody who's going to come in and just go, well, Nick Saban, we'll give you $700 million to come in here. Like, is it somebody who says they want to do that? Or do they walk out and they, John Summerall's the guy they're calling because they go to him and go, well, we're only going to pay $5 million. We think it's too expensive to pay a coach $10 million. What group of people is hiring? Because that changes everything. Because if it's a bunch of penny pinchers who are not really involved, and it's a right,
you can't shortchange your coach and the resources if he's.
It's not an LSU. It's not LSU people. It's just people who want to be involved in something like this. Which that's the way politics are now. So I could believe that could happen with this. Then it'll be really bad. But hopefully for LSU, hopefully for the SEC, hopefully for all of that, somebody smart will come in eventually and be like, guys, let me take over. We'll handle this, and we'll make a good hire. And hire this AD, get this AD in there, and then from here on out, when we can go get a good coach, we can get him a good staff. We can start to build this. But they don't have a president right now. They have a neutered AD. I don't know who's like. I heard somebody the other day say Penn State was a better job because it was too hard to be in the SEC, and it's like, oh, that you're a Big Ten guy. That's real Big Ten talk. Well, I don't want to be where it's hard. I want to be where it's easy. And you're like, you know what the problem was? James Franklin was that dude. James Franklin was I can win you 10 games every year, but I'm never going to win you a title. Like, that's who you're hiring if you hire the guy who doesn't want to go to the SEC to take Penn State.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing is like you're saying that if you're thinking about opportunities in the playoffs, yeah, I would have an easier road to the playoffs at Penn State to consistently get there and compete.
But I don't.
Big Ten.
Because if I lose to Ohio State every single year and Oregon every single year, because there's still a couple teams that are going to be better than me, and every year I'm going to lose to them, and every year I'm going to be on that back end of it. That was James Franklin.
No, it was. I do think, though, at LSU, they're going to have to figure out. I mean, here's the problem, too, man. I mean, Brian Kelly did some irreparable damage with the culture there, including the firing of Tommy Moffitt, their long time, for 23 years, strength and conditioning coach, who is now at Texas A&M. And after 2 years just being at Texas A&M, look what Tommy Moffitt, success leaves clues, guys. And it's really hard to find strength and conditioning. He was the same guy over 3 different national championship head coaching regimes at LSU. And Brian Kelly said he wasn't going to fire him, and he fired that guy. And now that guy's at Texas A&M causing havoc. And
can we get him to go somewhere else? Can we send him somewhere else? Right. Put him in the NFL. Oh, come on, man. I don't like this guy.
That's the secret sauce. People say Elko. Elko's doing a good job. Don't get it twisted. The transfer portal guys are doing a good job. Tommy Moffitt has set that culture. He's rebuilt what they had. What he took that culture that he had at LSU for 20 plus years, and he's taken it to College Station. That's the secret sauce that A&M has, is Tommy Moffitt.
Yeah, and Tucker, I'll tell you this. The culture can return quickly at LSU. I think it can, but it really depends on who you hire. Because is it the concept of Tom Herman coming in and saying, I don't want ex-players here. And it took 3 years for Sark to get the culture back because Tom Herman tore it down and said, I don't want any of that old stuff. I don't want nobody telling me what to do. I don't want ex-players in my practices. I ain't giving them a place to work out. This is for us. Same for them. And it took 3 years to rebuild that bridge to get Texas back to having a culture that was a winnable culture again. I mean, and we say 3 years is a long, long time in coaching now. I mean, you don't win for 3 years now. It's really hard to keep your job. Sark kind of came in and at the end run of that. And I get that, Tucker. I agree that players want to go there. Any group of 18-year-old kids, 19-year-old kids need something to get them in the right frame of mind. Because if you were the best player wherever you were at your entire life and you walk into a program and you have to have the culture of understanding, maybe I'll be on special teams. Sark talked about Ty Anthony Smith, and he was like, you know why he was great? Is he realized the only way I'm going to get on the field is if I do special teams. So he made friends with Jeff Banks. He made friends with the guys on special teams to go try and play. That's not everybody. And you get some of these players that are really good. They're from Louisiana. They want to be at LSU. And then the coach says, you know what I'm going to need you to do? All the not fun stuff, and you ain't going to play for a year. A lot of kids don't want to do that anymore. So you do have to have a program of older guys who are there, who are a part of it. And that's why it took Sark 3 years, because it took Bijan Robinsons and everybody else to pave it and pave that path for the culture change to go back to it. Because the guys who are older, it's a new thing. They're already trying to get to the NFL or wherever they're going next, and it's a different path for them. It's hard to get them to have a new coach and really buy in. It's just really hard in a year or two to really change things around, even with kids who want to be there. And so it is a process, and you have to hire the right guy. And it's one of the reasons they brought in a LSU guy and a Louisiana guy to be the interim coach. Why they promoted him to be the interim is to try and bring back some of that love of Louisiana back to the program before you get to next year. Trying to get some of those guys back to be like, oh, no, this is why I came to LSU. And Brian Kelly may have put the flame out, but we can reignite that flame again, because Brian Kelly was just an asshole to all of us unless we were winning them games.
Well, he was also a scammer too, because he didn't want to work. He wanted the money, he wanted the credit, and then he was putting everything in the hands of his assistants. And we should have known something was up when all them people did not follow him from Notre Dame. That was the first red flag. When they stayed behind with Brother Marcus, and a lot of those people are still there. And then you even have people that went from LSU, like Denbrock, went from LSU back to Notre Dame. That's a red flag. And then you have guys, look at the way these things are out here. We have a thing on my channel called DIS, Don't Ignore the Signs. Look how he was treating assistants on the sidelines, undressing people on camera, undressing every single time. First of all, how is it that all of your assistants are ill-prepared, according to you? That means you're ill-prepared, sir. That means you don't know what's going on. That means you're not dialed into the meetings and the weekly game plan. And that's why all this nasty-ass tea is coming out right now about him wanting the cliff notes from a meeting or this or that. What meeting are you sitting in, bro? You just having us do all of the work, and you just delegating everything, and you don't want no involvement, no say with anything. But on game day, you get mad when something starts to go sideways or something's not buttoned up. Now it makes sense why you lost all your damn openers up until this year. Now that makes sense. Now it makes sense why your team was always never buttoned up, no matter how talented they were. And the worst thing that happened is that Jaden Daniels bought you time. That's the worst thing that happened was that Heisman, because it was fool's gold, because that wasn't true LSU culture. It wasn't true LSU football. LSU is the most rich soil for high school prep talent that does not have to compete with another major institution. It's only LSU.
Yeah.
They're the only place like that. And for him to screw it up and mess that culture up, Tucker, you're right. They're going to have to rebuild it. Now, he was a Nigerian scammer on the highest levels, Tucker. Of the highest, like Prince Hakeem Hamed type scamming going on over here, bro.
He did have the coming to America moment, too, where he had Matt LaFleur and another coach that were graduate assistants at the time, and he invited them over to the house for a party, and they were like, oh, coach invited us to a party, and they showed up, and he goes, we need you to shovel out the driveway and park the cars.
Not the McDowells.
He did the McDowells to him, man. He did it.
Man.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah. That I was talking about this the other day. It's so funny. You see every other coach gets fired, and James Franklin, you're like, man, he couldn't win the big games. But all right, Billy Napier, like maybe the job was too big for him. He's a good guy. You see everybody, even Mike Gundy, all his problems. People are still like, Mike Gundy did a lot for Oklahoma State. And Brian Kelly gets fired, and everybody's like, good riddance. Kick some dirt on that grave. It is crazy to see it where nobody has defended that dude, really. Everyone is coming out. And that was a push.
And that's one thing I'm grateful for with Sark. We've had a lot of stuff go sideways this season.
Yes.
And stuff on the side, and we've had to make changes. I mean, this past game, if you notice, what's his face? We had to flip Milwee, right, with the booth and the sideline.
AJ Milwee,
and all the stuff going on. Stuff happens.
Yeah.
But you will not see Sark undress somebody on camera.
No, unless he's at the Alamo Bowl. Unless he's at the Alamo Bowl, tell him to wait up. Other than that, no one else.
Other than that, but like as a head coach, you know where the cameras are when you're on the sideline during the game.
Yeah,
you know, right? Especially during a TV timeout or something like that. Brian Kelly would go out of his way to embarrass you. He would go out of his way to do it in front of the camera. That's not a man you want to work for. That's not a man you want to play for. And people like Willie Fritz, who understand the soil of Louisiana, that's to me the type of, I'm not saying it has to be Willie Fritz, but people like that are pure, that truly understand Louisiana, truly understand where these kids come from and how to treat staff members. That's who you want running that program.
All right. Let me ask you this about another guy that no one should want to play for. I saw you upset about this yesterday. So Jerry Jones posting, well, guys, this is more important than football. Clearly, this is why I ain't fixing the defense right now, because I got to go out here and make a deal. And you're like, cool, make your deals. Be a businessman. Stop trying to run the team too. Stop it. So I just wanted to give
Cowboys are a side hustle, man.
Side hustle. And when we see one of the new owners of the Colts, she's on the sideline. She's trying to learn. And I get at a certain point, I'm also like, you should hire some more football people and not make your staff. But maybe she does. Maybe she has like a tutor or somebody that's not part of the staff to help her continue to learn. But I'm like, I get it. I'm doing well. That you're trying to learn the game because you want to make those right decisions. And this is where you're at. So I'm fine with it. But Jerry Jones, like, so you're not going to be that involved. You don't want to be that involved to actually know what's happening. But you do want to be involved enough that you get your name on all the plaques. That's not how winning works.
You know, the Carly Ursay story is cool, and I'm with you. Like, it's like you could take it one of two ways. I think some people are taking it as like performative, like, you know, and I think another way is like when I judge that, when I truly listen to her speak, I do think she's genuine.
Yeah.
Because the stuff that she was saying that was coming from the headset, I could tell she was really listening and she's done her due diligence. Like when she talked about tagging receivers, I'm like, that's really high level stuff you're talking about, ma'am. And I could tell she went and got with a coach and learned, what does this mean? Why are we doing it? What is the purpose? I just want to know what my employees are doing, right? I want to know that you're doing with confidence. I'm not here to make the decision on who should be the one on the headsets, blah, blah, blah. But I want to know that you guys are competent, right? And I do think you can hear that, and I agree with her. So, and she has every right to do that it's her football team. There's good vibes in Indianapolis. They're 7-1 or whatever.
They're winning football. That's the other thing. If they weren't winning, then maybe I could make more fun of her and be like, "Oh, you're rooting." They're winning. You're gonna say
it's a cool story. It's a cool story, and if it continues that way, especially a younger lady that's killing it like that, that sounds like a Hollywood script to me. You know, of a young lady.
She is third generation Nepo baby, but I mean,
hey, we would want a daughter that takes pride. She's so much better already than Jim Irsay, bro.
He was, but Jim Irsay was a Nepo baby.
Yeah, right.
He didn't buy the team either.
He didn't do it either. Grandpa was the one that stole him from Baltimore.
Yeah,
in the middle of the night. But with Jerry's the worst kind of scum. Jerry is the worst kind of scum. Because he's doing it and laughing and kikiing in our faces, talking about, this is why I'm talking to you and telling you over the phone, knowing full damn well we about to see this. And he knows we can't stop him. He knows there's nothing we can do about it. And so, yeah, it sucks. I've complained all over social media about it, but like, what can I do? I'm like, bro, at this point, go spend a bag and get Myles Garrett and make me shut up or something. Like, go do something to make me feel good.
He's gonna go get you. He's gonna go get you a middle tier linebacker and maybe a middle tier DB, and then fire Matt Eberflus at the end of the year and be like, that was the problem, not me. All right, my man Baby Bruce finally hopped on a little late, but still good. We got Baby Bruce joining the show here. We only got a little bit of time, Bruce, but we'll get to some SEC games real quick.
Yeah, man.
See where we're at. He got the car in the background. You see these guys trying to show off the good car in the background there.
Do you like the license plate?
I can't see what it says.
Roll Tide.
There it is.
And you know.
Let's start off, Bruce. Cocktail party, Georgia at Florida, 2:30. This is always a fun game. 7.5 point spread for Georgia this week, Bruce. Is this at all a trap game for Georgia, or is this just they're just fine? Gunnar Stockton's going to win it.
No. I think Georgia's going to go and put the sleeper hold on them and just be done with that. And I think that their defense is going to pull through. And Kirby Smart's, he always says we can't be killed. Well, they ain't going to have to worry about it because they're going to go out and knock some people off. They're going to knock Florida in. The Gators going to be turned over, petting his belly at halftime on that one.
I think that's probably a good call on that one. It is. It does feel like Georgia has just been playing much better football. Florida hasn't really recovered from the problems earlier in this year. It seems like it's going to take an offseason to get them back on track. Let's go over to the big game of the night, Oklahoma and Tennessee at 6:30. Oklahoma trying to salvage what's left of this season. The John Mateer injury, he came back. Some of it is it the thumb? Is he not the same player after the thumb surgery? Or is it that he was never really that great against Power 4 guys? And maybe the stats were a little inflated for him. Tennessee's been looking pretty good. Both these teams kind of playing with playoff hopes on the line as they are both 2-loss teams. What do you like in this one with Tennessee favored by 2.5?
I like Tennessee. I just don't think Mateer's spinning the ball correctly. I mean, come on, man. The thumb, he's not being able to hold it correctly. And I think it's put him in a fight or flight mode. He's a little bit timid and he's scared. He's like, man, I can't throw this ball. Oh, well, I need to run. So now he's just tucking and running, and that's just not getting the job done. I think Oklahoma's in a big deal here. I think that this could be the end of the road for these guys.
Yeah, no, I this does feel like it's the end of the road. We were talking with my man Steven earlier, and he was pointing out.
What's up, man?
What's up, Bruce? No, I agree with you, man. They can't help him outside of him generating offense. They can't run the ball outside of him. They generated one big explosive run, then they didn't run the ball anymore, right? So who else is going to help him take off some of that load offensively?
And their defense too. It's like, they show up and then they don't. Well, they really their stats say they're the best, but then, Texas went in there and put a shellacking on them, but then they show up the next week. They're very hit and miss on that defense. And if they're missing on this Tennessee game, they're going to get ate up in that secondary.
All right. This one is not a good game, but it is an interesting game. Mississippi State and Arkansas, both are 0-4 in the SEC, have not been an SEC team yet this season for either team. Mississippi State has been a while since they have been an SEC team. Arkansas is favored by 4.5. It's on the road, no cowbells. Is there any chance Mississippi State gets their first SEC win after coming so close against Texas, or does it just fall apart?
I think this is in the road for the cowbells. I think that Petrino is going to come up there with a cheerleader on a Harley, and he's going to pull up in there, and he's gonna do his thing. The guy's right on the cusp of making this team good again. And I think honestly, if he can pull it together, just pull it together, beat Mississippi State, and just pull it together, I think he has a really good chance of being, the coach. The coach of the team. Arkansas's defense, they're kind of hit and miss. Their quarterback's amazing.
Taylor Green's really good.
Watching him play, yeah, he's amazing. So I think that like I said, Arkansas is gonna come out with this sweet.
Do we have an over/under on points for this game?
For Texas or Vanderbilt or for Mississippi State, Arkansas?
Mississippi State, Arkansas.
66.5.
Woo!
Good Lord.
This is going to be a shootout. That's why I brought it up. Because Arkansas and Mississippi State, for as bad as they are both top 10 in explosive plays offensively that they generate. They both generate chunk plays. So it's going to be fireworks galore. Just like that Arkansas A&M game was in the 40s, right? Mid-40s. I expect this one to be in the 80s.
All right.
Take the over, right? Yeah.
Take the over.
Take the over. All right. One last one for you, Bruce, because we're running out a little bit of time. Vanderbilt at Texas. Texas 3.5-point favorites now. They've moved the line up to 3.5 now for Texas. Maybe that's Arch Mania coming back for you for another one that he's practiced for a couple days. We know Vanderbilt has been hit or miss. You saw your team handle Vanderbilt pretty easily. Can Texas take what Bama did and recreate some of that this weekend, or is this Vanderbilt continuing to make their run on the SEC?
Well, I think Texas has a better defense than Alabama's, and the only reason I hate to say it, just being straight up, Pavia fumbled and then he threw an interception in the.
Nope. Did his phone die? We lose Bruce.
May have lost Bruce.
Oh, there he is.
Right here.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think Alabama's gonna. I think Texas is gonna be able to put it to them. I think they're going to be able to stop Pavia. Just shut him down. I mean, they've done that to Manziel before, so I think this is going to happen.
All right, Bruce, we appreciate you joining us. We appreciate you hopping on with us today. We got to run out because we're running out of time, but we appreciate you. We'll have you back next week for more picks. Hopefully there will be some better games next week too.
See you guys. Nice to meet you, Steven. Take care.
YouTubers.
My man, Bama Bruce Castleberry. Always check out Vallejo, check out Saucer, all the great bands, one of the great musicians here in town, and a true SEC guy. SEC guy is Bruce. He's been there, so we always like to have him on the show. We're going to take our second break real quick. When we come back, we'll try and shove in 35 minutes of basketball, talking to like 2 minutes, get to our meat head of the day, and wrap it up here on Open Gym on Texas Sports Unfiltered.
Hi, I'm Hayden Covert. Welcome to Covert Buick GMC of Bee Cave, your home in the Hill Country for new and pre-owned Buick and GMC vehicles. With beautiful inventory arriving daily, including the GMC Yukon, Sierra 1500, and Buick Enclave, you'll be certain to find the perfect vehicle at an incredible deal. Our service department is also open for all your vehicle maintenance needs. Visit us today for a test drive. Covert, born and raised in Austin. We are professional grade.
Altstadt Beer, the best beer that you can find all throughout the great state of Texas. Y'all know I've been a fan of Altstadt for years now, and if you try it, I think you will be too. If you've already tried it, you know exactly what I am talking about. Altstadt is brewed locally in Fredericksburg, but available all over the state of Texas. So if you're tuned in Austin, San Antonio, Dallas, Houston, it does not matter. You can find Altstadt at a local grocery store or liquor store. They've got a bunch of different brews, something for every beer drinker out there. The Lager, the Kolsch, those are their two flagship beers, both award winners. They are fantastic. The Altstadt Light sacrifices on calories but does not sacrifice on the taste. They've got great pills, tons of great seasonals as well. I'm telling you, one sip and you won't go back to the other beers you've been drinking in the past. It is the official beer of BK. It should be the official beer of you as well. It's Altstadt Beer. No impurities, no regrets.
Hey,
Hey y'all, I'm Camille McKay.
And I'm Tom McKay, owner of Audiovisual Consultations.
The old man and I are here to give you your summer weather forecast. It's hot.
That's right, kid.
Which means it's time for pool parties, grilling burgers, and taking a beach vacation, right?
Well, I don't know about a vacation, but Audiovisual brings more heat than any tropical destination.
It was worth a shot. I'll settle for some outdoor speakers.
You know, Audiovisual can do a lot more than that. We provide outdoor video screens, audio systems, landscape lighting, even solar shades for your patio to keep the Texas heat at bay.
Well, I'm sold. Let's wrap this up. I'm ready to lounge on a floaty and listen to some smooth jazz.
Well, that sounds wonderful, but some smooth reggae is the way to go this summer.
Good thing we can listen to both with the Sonos sound system. I call dibs on the floaty, though. Peace out.
Kid, wait a second. Give us a call at 512-255-8678 or visit us at avconsultations.com. That's 512-255-8678.
Welcome back to Open Gym here on Texas Sports Unfiltered. My man Steven from Fanatic Perspective filling in. We got a little bit of time left, so let's hit to our meathead of the day real quick and seeing how ESPN already trying to ruin inside the NBA.
That we've this is our second week on ESPN.
Yes,
and we still haven't talked about the Cowboys. Isn't that amazing?
Cowboys. Oh, you know, they have a contractually obligated to talk about the Cowboys every day, even though their defense can't stop a bloody nose.
Stay off my team.
What?
Stay off the Cowboys. How did we get to the Cowboys? That's my team.
No, you know, that's a listen. Stop people from scoring.
Stay off my team.
Don't trade your best defensive player then whine about can't stop anybody.
Yeah, those Cowboys.
Come on.
There was Chuck on Inside the NBA. It's a mandatory. It's contractually obligated that we talk about the Dallas Cowboys. You're like, yeah, I still can't stand Shaq because once again, what does Shaq do? I cannot stand him on that show. All he does, he's a
prop. He's a prop.
He's like an improv comedy that it's called Yes and. You're always supposed to yes and keep running with stuff. Shaq is no but. It's the wrong way to do it. Well, you know, I think this is a great play. No, I think something different. So I'm gonna say no. What are you gonna say? What you think? No. God.
I mean, he's
terrible.
Still riding the Bull shtick. You know.
I know. Terrible. Bull ain't got a job.
Right. It's not in the league.
Wimby's playing like an MVP right now. Playing Miami tonight. See if they can continue being undefeated.
Can we start 5-0 for the first time ever?
It would help if Luke Cornett was playing. Bismarck Biyombo is still having to play center because of Luke Cornett injury. De'Aaron Fox is still out. Jeremy Sohan is still out. So there's still some players that are out there.
Kelly Olynyk is still out too.
Kelly Olynyk is still out. But yeah, Kelly Olynyk's what, 68 years old? I mean, he's going to play. He's part of
the team, man.
He's going to play like 22 games this season, something like that. But no, I'm with you. I think that there's still – I'm excited to watch this team with De'Aaron Fox coming back, but they got to figure out what they're doing at the point guard position because Steph Castle, he's turning the ball over too much, but he's playing really good basketball outside of that. Dylan Harper showing why they got him and why he's an elite scorer. And you're like, you can't, who are you taking playing time away from?
This is a big game for Steph Castle tonight because the turnovers have been too high. Yes. I also think that the coaching staff did a good job. I think it was at the Brooklyn game, not necessarily the Toronto game, but the Brooklyn game where they benched him early. They were like, look, we ain't going to let that stuff slide the way it was the previous game before. So there is some accountability built in there, but they're not going away from him either, as you've seen with the big time shots he's made. You know, the Pelicans game, all these games where he is, you know, his confidence hasn't deterred, but it's a learning curve because he didn't. The thing with Chris Paul being on the team last year was he didn't get a lot of those reps that he would have gotten at point guard.
Yeah.
He was playing off the ball. Yeah. So now that he is making decisions and setting pick and rolls and driving and sometimes driving aimlessly or gets a little too overzealous. But the good thing is, what a time to learn and still win and play with when Wemby's able to cover up so much of this stuff. De'Aaron Fox isn't here yet. This is perfect, honestly, for the Spurs to win and him have these early mistakes. He's only going to grow from it.
Yeah, Spurs 5.5-point favorites tonight. Should be fun. We'll see if Miami, Toronto, they played the other night, just didn't play near. When Wemby was in, they just didn't drive the basket.
Well, Bam Adebayo has been talking like Wemby. You know, the only people that make a big deal of Wemby's side is the media, according to Bam Adebayo. So I can't wait to see tonight's game.
That's what a 6'9" guy sounds like. I like Bam Adebayo. I do like Bam, but that does sound like some sour grapes right there. No, man, they're only talking about it because you're like, dude is really long. He makes up where two guys are 2 steps past him and he still blocks their shot. It's just been insane to watch this year.
I just don't want to see Bam making no business decisions tonight because other people have been making business decisions all over the court. So
that's what Miami. I mean, Miami is trying to be tough, trying to go at him. Spoelstra's just happy. He's the longest tenured coach now. He outlasted Pop. He's now the longest tenured coach and finally got that stop. All right, we got to get out of here. Steven's going to be back with me tomorrow. Fanatic Perspective. Tell me where to find you again, Steven.
Fanatic Perspective on YouTube, all over social media, short form, long form, talking Horns, talking Spurs, talking Cowboys, but talking ball. Excited to go into this weekend with the Vanderbilt game and everything. So all the previews all over, as well as on Bleacher Report. You can find me on the Bleacher Report app covering Texas football as well. Thank you, Patrick.
Thank you, sir. We'll be back tomorrow, but until then, be kind, be safe, keep your underwear clean, and we'll see you right back here tomorrow for more from Open Gym.